Douluo Dalu. Life or Death Pact. It begins with a forced kiss to Qian Renxue. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 326 Qian Renxue. Bai Dong and her mother join forces. Young master, I will follow you and fight to the death. The five great elders have also stood behind Bai Dong and Qian Renxue. Their eyes are firm, they are ready to die on the battlefield. Okay. Let's fight together. Qian Renxue pointed her sword at the Yuanzhou priest in front of her, and said majestically, "So what if he is a 100-level strongman? Who knows the outcome until the last moment? Everyone, follow me to fight." "Yes, young master." The five great elders responded loudly. At this moment, Bai Dong, Qian Renxue, the third elder King Douluo, the fourth elder Qian Renxue, the fifth elder Guangling Douluo, the sixth elder Qian Douluo, and the seventh elder Qian Renxue. The seven people all ignited boundless fighting spirit. Bai Dong and Qian Renxue looked at each other. At this moment, this mother and daughter stood on the same front for the first time and joined forces to fight against the powerful enemy. Kill. Qian Renxue and Dark Qian Renxue attacked at the same time, rushing towards the Yuanzhou priest first, followed by Bai Dong and the five great priests. 7 people, quickly killing. Hectares. Yuanzhou sneered. Not afraid at all, he went head-on with 1 against 7. Bang. Boom boom boom. Yuanzhou's terrifying power attacked, and he faced the power of Qian Renxue and Dark Qian Renxue head-on. Qian Renxue, a level 94 titled Douluo, has now reached the peak level of level 99. With the blessing of Dark Qian Renxue, they are 2 level 99 peaks. The combination of light and darkness is enough to fight against the demigod. But there is still a big gap between them and the 100-level strongmen. In the energy confrontation between the two sides, Qian Renxue was obviously at a disadvantage and was completely suppressed, but in the stalemate, Bai Dong rushed up and the 5 great priests followed. The 7 people's energy combined to fight against the 100-level strongmen. With the combined efforts of the 7 people, the two sides reached a state of parity for a while. Damn it, he is obviously just a level 94 titled Douluo, but he is so powerful. I can't waste too much divine power with these people. Yuanzhou looked ugly. Fighting with soul power like this is the most wasteful state. He also knew that Chu Ye's strength was much stronger than those people in front of him. If he and Qian Renxue spent too much state waiting for Chu Ye to arrive, he might not be sure to kill him. We must defeat them one by one. Ha! Bang! Yuanzhou took the initiative to stop the transmission of energy and shook off Qian Renxue and the other 7 people in one fell swoop. Chu Ye, I have arrived at the front line. The opponent is indeed a level 100 strongman. His strength is far behind ours. I'm afraid I can only hold on for half an incense stick of time at most. Qian Renxue looked at Yuanzhou with a serious face, but in her heart, she communicated with Chu Ye through spiritual communication. Chu Ye, hold on, try to delay time and wait for me to come back. Chu Ye stood behind that dragon's back. Daitian had already begun to burn his full strength, flying at the fastest speed in the huge sky, rushing to the battlefield of Qinghai Plain. Chu Ye knew that Qian Renxue had temporarily put aside the 8th test and rushed to the front line. Qian Renxue also knew that Chu Ye had completed the 4th test of the Dragon God and was rushing here. Now all she had to do was to delay time as much as possible and wait for Chu Ye to appear. 8th soul skill. Chiming. A strong golden light fell and blasted at the enemy. Here. Yuanzhou sneered, and with a powerful blow, he easily shattered Qian Renxue's 8th soul skill, and with a fierce moment, he wanted to kill Qian Renxue instantly. 8th soul skill, Thunder Dragon Fury. Go to hell. The inheritor of the God of Angels, you will fall in my hands. Ha ha ha. Being able to kill an inheritor of the throne of God is also a proud thing for a priest like him. Angel God's divine skill, Angel Shield. The golden shield in Qian Renxue's hand began to flash with an extremely strong golden light. The golden shield began to grow larger and completely protected her. Bang. Boom boom boom. The terrifying power bombarded the golden shield. It couldn't be broken. What? The defensor is so strong, worthy at being a human who carries the power of the 1st level God Angel God. Yuanzhou's face was very ugly. He increased the power of the bombardment. Break it for me. Bang. Boom boom boom. Qian Renxue was instantly knocked hundreds of meters away, but the angel shield was not broken. This made Yuan Zhao feel very embarrassed. He was a 100 level priest, but he couldn't even kill a 94 level titled Douluo in seconds. Go to hell. Yuan Zhao was a little anxious and rushed towards Qian Renxue again. Big brother. Let's go. Okay. Second brother. Martial soul fusion skill, holy evil double dragon stick. Ha! Qian Jin and Jiang rushed over with a roar. They launched their strongest attack. 2 sealed dragons flew out of the Panlong stick. The dragon roared loudly, and the 2 dragons also condensed into one and blasted towards Yuan Zhao. Oh. A petty trick. Get out. Bang. Boom. Yuan Zhao smashed it with one move, and the terrifying power of this giant dragon hit Qian Jin and Jiang. Puff. Ah. At that moment, blood burst out from Qian Jin and Jiang's bodies. Their bodies were blown into the sky and then fell heavily to the ground. Bang. 2 bangs, they fell to the ground. The 2 were dying, and they were completely injured and didn't even have the strength to move. 6th brother. 7th brother. Yuan Lingluo's face was blood red, and he was extremely angry. He pulled up the bow and arrow in his hand and condensed his strongest move. 9th soul skill, Guangling Divine Arrow. Go to hell. ZZZZ. The surroundings of Guangling Duo were instantly frozen. An extremely huge ice arrow was condensed and released. During the flight of the ice arrow, even the air seemed to condense into ice. An arrow flew at a very fast speed. Humph. Thunder Sea Dragon Domain. Then I will kill you first. A blue electric domain power emanated, and Yuan Zhao's palm also turned into a dragon claw, which shattered the ice arrow with one claw. 3rd soul skill, Thunder Phantom. ZZZZZZ. Yuan Zhao's body seemed to have turned into lightning, and was moving at high speed in an instant. At lightning speed, he suddenly changed direction and killed Guangling Duo. The speed was so fast that it was difficult for everyone to support him in that first time. Not good. Light, Dark Qian Renxue, Bai Bai Dong, and Lion Duo, for the first time, killed in the direction of Guangling Duo. But none of them could match Yuan Zhao's speed. Bow and arrow. It's a very threatening and powerful spirit. So, you die first. Yuan Zhao looked fierce. Guangling kept pulling up the bow and shooting arrows. Countless arrows flew out, but they were all avoided by Guang Zhao, who was attacking at high speed. It's over, I can't dodge anymore. Guangling Duo realized that it was difficult for him to escape, so he took the initiative to put down the bow and arrow and flew towards Yuan Zhao. Even if I die, I will peel off a layer of your skin. Chapter 327 Crisis, Guangling and King Yuan. Let's die together. Get out of here. Guangling Duo's eyes were filled with the determination to die. He was determined to fight to the death with his own death in exchange for Yuan Zhao being seriously injured. Old 5. No. Come back. How could King Yuan Duo not see what Guangling was going to do? In this case, Guangling Duo would most likely be killed by Yuan Zhao, so he simply gave up the hope of living, burned his own life essence, tried to seriously injure Yuan Zhao, and used his death to gain a greater chance for everyone. And Guangling Duo also knew that King Yuan Duo would definitely protect him and resist Yuan Zhao's attack for him. He didn't want to see King Yuan Duo die in front of him. Taking the initiative to kill him and fight to the death was his best choice. Looking for death. Yuan Zhao smiled disdainfully and waved his dragon claws. Just as Yuan Zhao was about to crush Guangling Duo's neck with one claw, a hand grabbed Guangling Duo's shoulder from behind. This hand was the 3rd worshipper King Yuan Duo. At the critical moment, King Yuan Duo pulled Guangling Duo's body back, and he pushed forward. Puff. Ah. No, brother King Yuan. Guangling Duo's eyes widened. He saw with his own eyes that Yuan Zhao's claw pierced King Yuan Duo's chest. His eyes were red, and the corners of his eyes had already turned red. At this time, Bai Bai Dong's feet had risen, and a red soul ring. 9th soul skill, Space Tearing Abyss Slash. This is one of Bai Bai Dong's strongest attack soul skills. Even a 100-level strongman would not dare to underestimate this move. Yuan Zhao, who wanted to kill King Yuan Duo with another claw, could only throw King Yuan Duo away from his hand first, turn around, and attack Bai Bai Dong. Bang. Boom boom boom. He blocked Bai Bai Dong's attack. But at this time, Qian Renxue and Dark Qian Renxue had also attacked. At the same time, they released powerful sword intent, and the swords of light and darkness ignited. Angel 6 sword techniques. The 5th sword. Angel punishment. Bang. Boom. Ah. Yuanzhao was finally unable to respond in time and was instantly knocked down from the air by Qian Renxue. His body slammed heavily on the ground. Qian Renxue successfully dealt a blow to the enemy. The continent shook violently, and a large pit was smashed into the ground. Yellow soil, grey smoke, and energy rose up, blocking everyone's sight. No one knew what Yuanzhao was like, whether he was dead or alive. Brother King Yuan, why? Guangling Duo caught him in time. King Yuan Duo, whose chest was pierced, hugged him and landed on the ground, his face very sad. Qian Renxue, Bai Bai Dong, and Qian Duo stood in front of them, looking ahead. Old Five, how can I watch you die in front of my eyes? I said I would do my best to protect you. The blood from King Yuan Duo's chest was still flowing. His pale face was extremely weak, but the corners of his mouth were still trying to squeeze out a smile. Brother King Yuan looking at his brother in his arms who was so miserable and even on the verge of despair, Guanling's face was extremely sad, and the tears that had been circling in the corners of his eyes slowly fell. He recalled the scene when he was young. That was when Guanling Duo was just starting out and had just shown his unparalleled talent. It was also when he represented the Spirit Hall in the Spirit Master competition. At the time, Guanling Duo was the youngest member of the Spirit Hall team. At the time, King Yuan Duo had already become famous in the Spirit Master world. He was the oldest and strongest member of the Spirit Hall team. King Yuan was like a good brother. During the Spirit Master competition, he took good care of Guanling and said something that Guanling still remembers. Guanlin, I will be your strongest shield from now on. Just feel free to attack. I will protect you at any time. If you want to hurt you, then step over me first. Since then, Guanling and King Yuan have formed a deep friendship. One of them fights in the front and the other attacks in the back. They lead the Spirit Hall team to win the championship and become the nightmare of all teams. Later, they trained together on the mainland, one in the front row and the other in the back row. In just a few months, they became famous in the entire Spirit Master world. At the time, they could be said to be the most powerful. Therefore, for Guanlin, if King Yuan Duo died in front of him, he would feel very uncomfortable. Seeing Guanlin crying, King Yuan comforted him and said, You're already over 90 years old, and you are still crying. Guanlin, if you can survive this war, I hope you can take No. Shut up. Guanling wiped away the tears from the corners of his eyes with his arm, and said with a bit of crying, Brother Yuan, you can't die. Hang in there, wait for His Royal Highness the Holy Sun. His Royal Highness the Holy Sun must have a way to save you. You hold on. Guanling Duo continued to use his own power to heal King Yuan, but he could only delay the wound and let King Yuan hold on for a while longer, but he could not get him out of danger. Time will make his breath of life gradually disappear. At this time, the yellow earth, grey smoke, and energy in front of him slowly dissipated, and soon Yuanzhao's laughter came from the huge pit. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Even if you use your strength to protect him, he can't last more than half an hour at most. Why waste your energy? You are all going to die anyway, hilly. The blurred figure gradually became clear, and Yuanzhao stood up from the ground and walked out little by little. Although he was injured by Qian Renxue, it did not affect his overall combat power. Yuanzhao, among the more than 10,000 100-level priests, has a combat power close to the upper reaches. He really won't be killed by us so easily. Looking at the powerful enemy who stood up again, Qian Renxue took a deep breath, and the pressure in her heart was huge. Now, Qianjin and Jiangm are already seriously injured and can't fight anymore, King Yuan is dying, Qianqi and Guangling, and Bubidong are almost at their limit. They almost have no spare energy to fight. If they go on, they will easily die and won't be able to delay for much time. Now, only Qian Renxue is facing it alone. Everyone, step back. Qian Renxue slowly raised the angel's holy sword in her hand, facing the 100-level strongman alone. Qian Renxue, you're alone now, and you still want to compete with me? Yuanzhao had a gloomy face. He first used his divine power to suppress the places that were injured by Qian Renxue and Dark Qian Renxue. Then he became more ferocious. You are just a 94-level titled Duo, but you heard me just now. You are very good, but I will not give you a second chance. Really? I can hurt you once, and I can hurt you a second and third time. Qian Renxue said coldly. Just you. If it weren't for them just now, could you hurt me? What a joke, okay. Let me see how you are going to hurt me. Yuanzhao attacked again like a terror. Have you ever seen an angel where light and darkness coexist? Qian Renxue's voice was cold, and suddenly remembered. Chapter 328 Light and Darkness, 12-Winged Angel of Light and Darkness. Yuanzhao's heart was shocked. Angels of light and darkness, watch carefully, how I will hurt you. At this moment, Qian Renxue and Dark Qian Renxue interlocked their hands and held them together. 9 soul rings rose under the feet of both Qian Renxue. One flashed an extremely strong golden light. The other exuded an extremely strong darkness. Qian Renxue's 6-winged angel martial soul actually merged with Dark Qian Renxue's dark 6-winged angel martial soul. Their soul rings actually merged at this moment. This is martial soul fusion skills. Everyone was shocked. Although martial soul fusion skills are rare, there is nothing surprising about them. However, everyone has only seen fusion with others, but has never seen that they can actually merge with themselves. Dark Qian Renxue is a special existence. She can be a separate individual or a part of Qian Renxue. Not good. We must stop her. Yuanzhao's face changed drastically when he saw this. He finally felt a very strong threat from Qian Renxue. He increased his speed and rushed forward. Go to hell. But it was too late. Qian Renxue's martial soul fusion skill was so fast that it was almost instantaneous. Martial soul fusion skill. 12-winged light and dark angel. At this moment, Qian Renxue and Dark Qian Renxue's bodies were completely fused together. 6 black angel wings grew out from behind Qian Renxue. The original 6 wings became 12 wings, 6 wings of light and 6 wings of darkness. Half of Qian Renxue's appearance also turned dark, emitting the ultimate light and dark attributes. And her aura and strength also directly climbed to the level of 100-level strongmen. 9th soul skill, Angel's Kiss. This woman's power has actually reached the level of God. Yuanzhao was extremely embarrassed. She didn't expect that a mere 94-level titled Douluo could achieve this level. Even if you have reached the level of God, there is still a huge gap between your power and mine. Go to hell. Yuanzhao came in a ferocious and terrifying manner. But suddenly, he felt a shock from the spirit. It's actually a mental attack. Yuanzhao's face darkened. Angel's Kiss, through the special transformation method of angel soul power, instantly transforms soul power into mental shock, and launches a large-scale attack. No. I'm careless. Yuanzhao was not familiar with Qian Renxue's soul skills, and was not injured by the mental attack. When he reacted, Qian Renxue with 12 wings had already slashed with a sword. Puff. Ah. Yuanzhao screamed, and Qian Renxue instantly slashed a sword mark on his chest. 4th soul skill, Angel Whirlwind Wing Slash. Die. Puff. 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 Qian Renxue spun her body, and the 12 wings were like sharp blades frantically cutting Yuanzhao's body. Ah. While Yuanzhao screamed, he was knocked down to the ground by Qian Renxue from the sky. Bang. Boom. Qian Renxue not only hurt Yuanzhao for the 2nd time, but also hurt him countless times, and directly injured him severely. She took advantage of the victory to pursue, but was repelled by the opponent's soul bone skill. Damn woman. I am so embarrassed. Bang. Yuanzhao was completely crazy, and her body instantly soared into the sky. Qian Renxue was not afraid at all and started a head-on fight with her. Bang 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 bang. The two fought fiercely in the air, fighting in close combat. Like 2 lightning bolts, colliding at high speed in the air. The two sides fought for 3 minutes, and it was impossible to tell the winner, but it was obvious that Yuanzhao was still suppressing Qian Renxue. Although Qian Renxue barely reached the god level in the 12-wing state, it was only the most ordinary 100-level priest combat power after all. Yuanzhao was in the upper reaches of the priest combat power. Therefore, the strength of the two sides is still very different, and Qian Renxue can only temporarily be in the 12-wing state. In this state, soul power, physical strength, and all aspects are consumed. She is about to reach her limit. Ha! Bang! Boom! Ah! At the end of the 3-minute fierce battle, Qian Renxue was knocked to the ground by Yuanzhao's punch. Qian Renxue was already covered in wounds, with blood slowly flowing from the corners of her mouth. She supported her body with the angel's holy sword and stood up quickly. The last bit of strength. 9th soul skill, Angel Virtual Image. Behind Qian Renxue, a huge angel's virtual image exactly like her condensed, and countless golden feathers surged out from the virtual image and shot at the enemy from all directions. You can fight with me until now, and you have no regrets in death. 9th soul skill, Thunder Sea. The extremely terrifying lightning, like the sea, rushed towards her. Qian Renxue's strength and virtual image did not last for a few seconds, and were shattered by the thunder like the sea. Is it the limit? Qian Renxue looked at the terrifying sea of thunder in front of her with some powerlessness. It was difficult for her to resist this blow at her strength, and she would most likely be killed instantly. But she still had the artifact resurrection armor that Chu Ye gave her. She knew that she would not die from this attack, but she did not want to use the skill of the resurrection armor. But at this moment, Bai Bai Dong stood beside Qian Renxue. Seeing Bai Bai Dong standing beside her, Qian Renxue's face changed, and she had extremely complicated emotions in her heart. She shouted in a hurry, "What are you doing? Go away. You'll die. Although I have a lot of resentment towards you in my heart, you are my daughter after all." Once, Bai Bai Dong always thought that she had no feelings for Qian Renxue, only resentment and cruelty, but because of Chu Ye's influence, she actually understood that deep in her heart, she had the status of Qian Renxue. But Bai Bai Dong's resentment for Qian Renxue still exceeded her love. But until now, she saw that Qian Renxue was about to be killed and would die in front of her eyes. Bai Bai Dong finally became anxious and finally woke up. Sometimes people are like this, they won't cry until they see the coffin. Only when things are beyond repair will they understand and have the most real thoughts. Although she didn't want to admit her love for Qian Renxue, at this moment, it was extremely clear that love had surpassed hatred. She absolutely didn't want to see Qian Renxue die. Qian Renxue was moved, but there was no time for her to indulge in these emotions. She stood up at the first time, injected all her strength, and fought against this terrifying thunder power with Bai Bai Dong. Bang! Boom boom boom! At this moment, the domineering thunder and lightning bombarded. Puff! Qian Renxue and Bai Bai Dong were left with countless wounds on their bodies. They were knocked to the ground at the same time, and were completely seriously injured. They no longer had any ability to stand up and fight. Bai Bai Dong's injuries were even more serious, and she was almost dying. Chapter 329 Gods and Demons descend upon the world, and Chu Ye makes a terrifying appearance. The two of them were lying on the ground. Qian Renxue tilted her head and looked at Bai Bai Dong beside her. She finally couldn't hold it anymore. She completely let go of her obsession with Bai Bai Dong. A tear fell from the corner of her eye and slid down her delicate face. "Do you know now that I am your daughter? I am sorry for you. I didn't fulfill my duties as a mother." Bai Bai Dong's face was pale and extremely weak. As she spoke, she coughed up blood again, and her life breath became weaker and weaker. "If you feel sorry for me, just stay alive and make up for your debt to me in the future." Qian Renxue held Bai Bai Dong's palm. This was the first physical contact between them in more than 10 years, and the first time they held each other's hands. Qian Renxue kept using her own power to quickly transfer power from Bai Bai Dong's palm to her body to maintain Bai Bai Dong's breath. The contact between hands and the transmission of power made Bai Bai Dong finally let go of the last hatred in her heart, and she should also make changes. Ha 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 ha. You're about to die, and you still thought you could survive? Are you still struggling? Today, you will all die in my hands. It's really exciting to think that 2 inheritors of the first level gods were killed by my own hands. Now, you all go to hell. Yuanzhao's figure was shrouded in the vast sky, and terrifying lightning was circling around him. As long as he struck down, Bai Bai Dong, Qian Renxue, and the 5 great priests would all die. Wait. Brother Yuanzhao. Wait. Let me do it. I want to kill them myself. Seeing that Yuanzhao had completely defeated all the strong men of the Spirit Hall, Tang San finally jumped out, extremely excited, and excited to do it himself. Yuanzhao frowned when he heard it, and he was really a little unhappy in his heart, but he still agreed to let Tang San know it himself. Okay. Hurry up, to avoid any sudden incidents. Tang San wasted no time and rushed over at high speed, with a wild laugh and excitement on his face, roaring. Ha ha ha. Bai Bai Dong. Qian Renxue. You have come to this day too. You deserve all this. I, Tang San, can finally take revenge and kill you with my own hands. One is his teacher, the other is his woman. The 2 most important women in his life are now going to die in my hands, ha ha. Ha ha ha. I can't wait to see Chu Ye, in despair and pain, kneeling on the ground looking at you dead, holding his head and crying. Wait for me to kill you. I will let him see with his own eyes how you die tragically, and let him be killed by me in the pain of despair. It's over. Bye bye dong. Qian Renxue. Go to hell. Ha ha ha. Tang San had already rushed to Bai Dong and Qian Renxue, extremely excited, ecstatic, waving the trident of Poseidon, and was about to kill Bai Dong and Qian Renxue. Your Majesty. Young Master. The 5 great priests, as well as all the titled Luos such as Ju, Gi, Snake Spear, and Thorn Porpoise, who are being suppressed and beaten by Tang Dao, Tang Xiao and other titled Luo of the Ocean sect. In addition, the younger generation such as Elena, Yan, Shi Yu, etc. were all desperate and helplessly looking at this scene. They could only watch the most core figures of their Wuhan Empire die at the hands of Tang San. No. Your Highness the Son of God. Where are you? Your Highness the Son of God. At this moment, everyone could only pin their hopes on Chu Ye. Only Chu Ye could save the current situation. They screamed, Your Highness the Son of God, these 4 words. Ha 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 ha. No one can save you. Go to hell. Tang San's face was distorted, and the Seogot trident stabbed down fiercely. 10 meters. 5 meters. 3 meters. Just when the Seogot trident was only 1 meter away from Bai Dong and Qian Renxue. Suddenly, a dragon roar that shocked everyone's soul instantly spread across the entire scene, shocking people's eardrums. Roar. Ah! The extremely domineering roar of the golden-eyed black dragon made everyone present cover their ears and scream loudly. Countless people looked up at the sky and saw a huge black dragon emitting an extremely powerful and terrifying aura. The next second, in the huge sky, a long sword flashing with strong golden light and darkness, like a god or demon descending to the world, instantly fell from the sky. And at the limit, it cut off Tang San's arm holding the sea god trident, and finally slammed the ground in a terrifying way. Boom boom boom. Puff. Ah, that is the sword of gods and demons that symbolizes the most extraordinary and peerless genius of this era, Chu Ye. That is, the sword of gods and demons. Your Highness the Son of God. It is the sword of gods and demons of His Highness the Son of God. Your Highness the Son of God is coming, Your Highness the Son of God is coming. Chu Ye, Xiao Ye, Your Highness the Son of God. At this moment, Qian Renxue and Bai Dong looked at each other, and finally showed a little smile on their faces. The 5 great priests and all the titled Luo at the Spirit Hall. The despair and powerlessness on their faces disappeared in that instant, as if they were no longer afraid of anything that happened next, and they felt extremely relieved and safe. The sword of gods and demons was like a ray of light, illuminating the side of the Spirit Empire, and igniting the fire of hope in the hearts of everyone. It made countless people, countless soldiers, excited. In an instant, the entire Spirit Empire army fell into madness. Little joke. What a little joke. How dare you try to hurt the woman I love the most? Chu Ye's boundless anger echoed between heaven and earth, and in everyone's heart. The anger carried fear and terrifying killing intent that struck people's hearts. At this moment, the combined forces of the 2 empires, hundreds of thousands of people, including Tang Xiao, Tang Dao, and the title of Aotian sect, were all extremely panicked and looked at the sky in fear, their bodies trembling with fear. Tang San was even more frightened. The anger made him feel fear and terror from the bottom of his heart. His face was full of fear, and he couldn't help but let out a terrified cry. Ah, 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 ah. He had seen it. Everyone also saw Chu Ye's figure standing on the head of the extremely terrifying black dragon, the golden-eyed black dragon King Daitian. That man. Riding on the dragon, like a god, he appeared. Protect me. Brother Guanzhou, please protect me. Tang San was long gone. He was excited and ecstatic when he was about to kill Qian Renxue and Bai Dong. There was only endless fear on his face, like a stray dog, frightened by Chu Ye's terrifying aura, and crawled forward frantically, running towards Guanzhou. Chapter 330 Chu Ye. Just watch and see how a mortal like me can kill a god. Is this guy so scary? Daitian under Chu Ye's feet couldn't help swallowing. At that moment, Daitian's dragon body trembled. Although it knew that Chu Ye was a friendly army, a member of its own army, it was still frightened by this aura, which was very creepy. Guanzhou rushed to Tang San at the first time. Chu Ye also jumped off the dragon's back and stood in front of Bai Dong and Qian Renxue. Chu Ye, you are finally here. The stone that tightened Qian Renxue's heartstrings fell. Chu Ye was like a reassurance. His appearance calmed everyone's hearts and made them feel at ease. Zwyer, teacher. Looking at the weak Qian Renxue, Bai Dong who was so seriously injured, and several elders who were beaten and dying. Chu Ye had a gloomy face and tried his best to suppress the anger in his heart, but he didn't show all his bad emotions to his beloved. Chu Ye gently stroked Qian Renxue's cheek. I'm sorry, Zwyer, teacher, I'm late and made you tired. You guys take a good rest, leave the rest to me. Chu Ye slowly moved his hand away from Qian Renxue's cheek and stood up. The gentleness on his face was gone, only endless murderous intent and anger. You're dead. Chu Ye walked towards Yuanzhao step by step. His breath was unusually calm, but it made people feel even more terrifying. Yuanzhao actually felt for a moment that this young man possessed power superior to him. He immediately shook off the thought in his heart and shook his head. This is impossible. How could a titled Douluo be stronger than me? I'm the priest sitting under Lord Poseidon. Yuanzhao quickly adjusted his mentality. A confident smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, and he looked at Chu Ye who was walking towards him with disdain. Ha, boy, I've been waiting for you for a long time. You finally showed up. For the damage you have caused to them, I, Chu Ye, will make you pay back tenfold. 100-fold. 1,000-fold. Chu Ye's murderous intent became stronger and stronger. As he walked, he raised the sword of gods and demons. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. How arrogant. I'm dying of laughter. A mere 96th level titled Douluo also wants to fight against God, but I am a 100-level priest. Yuanzhao laughed loudly, and the next second, a terrifying force rose from his body again. You're a mortal, what can you use to compete with me? Boy, let me see how capable you are. Take my hit. Ha ha ha. Yuanzhao burst out with terrifying power, like a hunter who has been accumulating power for a long time, and pounced madly. 100-level priest. God, ha ha, what about God? Just watch, how can a mortal like me kill the god? Chu Ye's domineering voice shocked the whole audience. At this moment, his own terrifying aura was all ignited, and the soul rings under his feet, blab, 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 red, 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 dark gold, were also revealed. 7th soul skill, God and Demon True Body. The huge sword of the gods and demons appeared behind him, and Chu Ye also burst forward in an instant. The terrifying sword intent was circling around him. Don't overestimate your own abilities. You are the one who overestimates your own abilities. The two sides were like parallel lines that were about to connect, as if it was a matter of a moment, as fast as lightning. Yuanzhao attacked with a claw. Chu Ye swung his sword. Die. Bang. Boom. The two finally rushed head-on, and the two terrible forces were madly competing and suppressing each other. But soon Chu Ye's sword penetrated Yuanzhao's energy. What? How is this possible? Yuanzhao was shocked and had a bit of fear on his face. The next second, Chu Ye instantly broke through the energy and cut off Yuanzhao's arm with a sword. Puff. Ah. Yuanzhao's left arm was bleeding wildly. He couldn't believe it. He looked at his broken arm in horror and screamed miserably. My hand, this kid actually cut off my arm in a duel with me. Yuanzhao's face was no longer smiling, only shock and horror. A 100-level priest is just like this. Chu Ye raised his sword, and his right index finger swept behind the sword, and the blood on the sword slowly dripped. The figures of Guangxin and Dangxin behind him had already emerged. God and Demon Sword Technique, the first style, Sunday and Moon Demon God. Don't be too self-righteous. Do you think you can defeat me by cutting off one of my arms? Go to hell. Yuanzhao rushed madly. Hush. Bang. Boom. You. Who do you think you are? Get out. Chu Ye overwhelmed Yuanzhao again, and his terrifying power slashed fiercely on the enemy's chest. Puff. Wah. The thick armor on Yuanzhao's body was chopped off by Chu Ye on the spot, leaving an extremely deep sword mark on his chest. The opponent screamed and his body slammed to the ground. Hush. Bang. Boom. Anxin. I'm the knight. Chu Ye transformed into Anxin, like a black shadow, stabbing down at high speed. Yuanzhao didn't have time to lie down, and dodged at the limit, and punched. 6th soul skill, God and Demon 8-7 and slash. Bang. Boom. You are such a rubbish, and you dare to hurt the woman I love the most. You dare to hurt my teacher. You. And you even tried to kill me. Bang. 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 Ah. Chu Ye chopped Yuan Zhao 8 times in a row, and each blow made the opponent scream. After the 8 sections were finished, Chu Ye immediately followed up with the God and Demon 36 slashes. The first cut. The second cut. The 5th cut. The 10th cut. The 20th cut. The 30th cut. Puff. 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 Ah. Even if I chop you 1,000 or 10,000 times, it will not be enough to relieve the hatred in my heart. I will chop off your flesh piece by piece, and break your bones piece by piece. You. Remember this. This is the fate of touching my Chu Ye's woman. Chu Ye had a ruthless look on his face, and he chopped Yuan Zhao's body crazily, from the sky to the ground, and from the ground to the sky. Yuan Zhao kept screaming, and in an instant, he had no power to fight back, and was chopped by Chu Ye. The armor on his body had long been chopped to pieces, and his whole body was covered with wounds and blood. He was chopped horribly, and with every sword, Chu Ye was venting his inner anger. The 36th consecutive cut. Chu Ye's last cut fell from the sky and cut off Yuan Zhao's other arm again. Puff. Hush. Bang. Yuan Zhao fell to the ground again, looking at Chu Ye in horror. He was terrified, he was actually afraid. He was a 100 level expert, a priest in that god realm, but he actually felt fear towards a mortal soul master in the mortal realm. How is this possible? How is this possible? I actually have no power to do anything. Chapter 331. Exploding a 100 level expert, exploding the ring. Killing Tang Yao and Tang Xiao in one move. Monsters. They are all a bunch of monsters. Yuan Zhao had always thought that a 100 level priest like him who came to the lower world would be invincible in the Douluo mortal realm, and could be easily controlled and killed. But the appearance of Qian Renxue barely reached the god level combat power, which already made him feel very surprised. But he was not too surprised. After all, she was the inheritor of the angel god and had a divine weapon in hand. He could accept it if she was a little more powerful. But he thought Qian Renxue was already powerful enough, but he never expected that Chu Ye was even more terrifying than Qian Renxue. A 96 level titled Douluo beat him, a 100 level priest, without any defensor. Is this still a human? This is almost close to the battle of the 3rd level god. Too strong. It's really too strong. This is Chu Ye. This is His Royal Highness the Son of God. Everyone around who could see was shocked, and excited by Chu Ye's terrifying power. God. At this moment, Chu Ye was like a god in the eyes of everyone on the side of the Spirit Empire. Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Tang San was even more stunned, standing there in a daze, looking at such an awesome Chu Ye. He once again fell into serious self-doubt. Isn't it said that no matter how strong Chu Ye's talent is, even if he cultivates to the peak of level 99, it is still only the limit of what humans can do? But now, how come he beats a 100 level god? Even if I cultivate both of my martial souls to the 9th ring and reach the level of 99 spirit power, I can't do this, right? Why? Why can he always achieve things beyond imagination? Damn it. Damn it. Tang San roared helplessly. Tang Yao has always encouraged Tang San to work hard, that is, no matter how strong a person's talent is, in the end he is only level 99. If you can't become a god, no matter how fast you cultivate, you're only level 99. There is a limit to strength. It doesn't matter if he, Tang San, is slow. As long as he can grow to level 99, his twin martial souls are the biggest advantage. At the same level 99, 2 martial spirits are stronger than 1, right? But now, Tang Yao's statement has become a complete joke. Damn, he has beaten the god. Even Tang San began to doubt whether he could really kill Chu Ye after becoming the sea god. Go. Tang San, leave here and go back to the sea god island. Yuan Zhao stood up with bruises all over his body and yelled at Tang San. Now he is no longer sure that he can kill Chu Ye, and he may even be killed in return. Therefore, Yuan Zhao was ready to die with Chu Ye. As long as I become the sea god, I can get everything back. That's right, I must leave, I must live. Tang San made the decision without any hesitation. He knew that if he left, it would be like abandoning the coalition forces of the 2 empires and the Ocean sect, but Tang San still made a decisive decision to escape. He shouted to Tang Yao, "Father, come with me." In the face of life and death, whether the 2 empires and the Ocean sect would die or not, Tang San didn't care at all. Only Tang Yao, after all, was his father, and he still wanted to take him with him. But Tang Yao was not as shameless as Tang San. He already owed the Ocean sect a debt. Now he asked the Ocean sect to help the two empires fight against the Wuhan Empire. Now that he saw that he couldn't win, he abandoned the sect and fled alone. Tang Yi now really didn't have the face to do that again. Shao-san, you go, your father decided to stay. Tang Yi now sighed in his heart. Dad, if Qian Renxue was killed by Chu Ye, you will only die if you stay. Tang-san said anxiously. Want to leave? Is it that easy? Realizing that Tang-san wanted to abandon the army and escape, Chu Ye immediately changed the direction of attack and killed Tang-san. He knew that Qian Renxue still had some ability to fight back, and he couldn't kill him for a while. It was equally important to kill this Tang-san, who was already level 86. In a few years, he might become the sea god. If that happened, it would be a big problem, and it must be solved as soon as possible. Not good. Seeing this, Qian Renxue rushed over anxiously, trying to stop Chu Ye. Seeing Chu Ye coming towards him, Tang-san felt that his soul had been scared away, and he turned around and fled desperately. But Tang-san's speed was comparable to Chu Ye's. In less than a few seconds, he was already behind him. In fear, Tang-san used the Sea God Trident skill, Unstable Wind Wave, but was cleverly avoided by Chu Ye's several Soul Bone teleportation skills. A jumping clown, even if you hold a divine weapon, you are so useless. After avoiding it, Chu Ye directly shot out a sword blade. Puff. The sword blade hit Tang-san's back accurately, knocking him to the ground on the spot. Shao-san. Big brother, help me. The direction Tang-san ran to was right next to Tang Yao and Tang Xiao. The two brothers looked fierce and rushed at him at the same time. Don't even think about hurting my son. Try my Ocean sect's strongest divine skill, the secret of the Great Humor Hammer. Ring explosion. Go to hell. Bang. 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 Tang Xiao and Tang Yao all blew up their 9 spirit rings at the same time, condensing 2 extremely domineering and terrifying forces on the Ocean Hammer. The power of the ring explosion was very huge, and it could be said that it was comparable to the level of divine skills. Tang Yao and Tang Xiao exploded their rings at the same time, and the combined power was already very terrifying. You're looking for death. You want to stop me? Well, I'll send you to hell first. Chu Ye was full of murderous intent. Deep Sea Demon Whale Soul Bone Skill, Demon Whale Backlash. Chu Ye actually withstood the strongest attack of Tang Yao and Tang Xiao. The overbearing power not only did not hurt him, but was absorbed by Chu Ye's Demon Whale Soul Bone. What? Tang Yao and Tang Xiao's faces were already extremely terrified. Die. 80% of the power of Tang Yao and Tang Xiao's ring explosion was absorbed by the Demon Whale Soul Bone, and then bounced back the next second. Bang. Boom boom boom. A generation of titled Douluo, just like that, was vulnerable and died in Chu Ye's hands. No, Dad, my dad. Tang-san knelt on the ground, holding his head and crying. Chu Ye. His eyes were bloodshot, and the next second, he stood up from the ground. Holding the trident in his hand, he rushed towards Chu Ye madly. Chu Ye. I will fight you. Chapter 332. Gods and demons destroy the world, the strongest blow. Titled Douluo can already use soul power to condense into the shape of an arm, and use soul power as a limb. Although it is not as easy to use as a real arm, it can also be driven. As Tang-san rushed towards Chu Ye. At this time, a strong power of the sea god suddenly rose from the sea god trident. The sea god's divine consciousness emerged again and attached to Tang-san's body. Sea god. It's you again. When you repeatedly interfered in the mortal world, you now sent a priest to the lower world to kill me and hurt my beloved. Sea god. I will make you pay the price. When I ascend to the god realm, I will cut off your head with my own hands. Chu Ye swung a sword at Tang-san, who was blessed by the sea god's divine consciousness at this moment. Although Tang-san's strength increased several times with the blessing of the sea god's divine consciousness, he was not Chu Ye's opponent after all. With just one sword, Tang-san was instantly knocked away by Chu Ye. The sea god trident in his hand was also shaken off on the spot by Chu Ye's power. Puff. Woo, Tang-san, return to Sea God Island immediately. The voice of Sea God's mind echoed in Tang-san's heart. Lord Sea God, please give me more power, I must kill Chu Ye. Tang-san roared at Sea God. Sea God sighed in his heart, and the voice sounded again. I can only give you so much power. If you want to kill your enemy, you have to return to Sea God Island and inherit my Sea God throne. Only when you become Sea God can you kill him with your own hands. Tang San's eyes were bloodshot, he gritted his teeth tightly, and clenched his fists tightly. Dad, wait until I become Sea God, and then I will avenge you. Tang San no longer rushed forward to die, and turned to flee. At this time, Yuanzhao had also blocked in front of Chu Ye. Demon Whale King, Snow Emperor, Ice Emperor, you three killed Tang San. Erming and Xu were guarding Bai Dong, Qian Renxue and others. There were still 3 souls left, and they rushed collectively to chase Tang San, while Chu Ye continued to fight Yuanzhao. The pride of the 2 emperors of Ice and Snow. The Ice Emperor and the Snow Emperor combined their power to attack, and the Demon Whale King also used the strongest power, the 3 souls, to kill Tang San at the same time. Heir of the Sea God, die. The 3 souls, with a terrifying momentum, attacked Tang San. Tang San ran desperately, and didn't want the harpoon that fell to the ground, but the Sea God's trident flew towards Tang San again. It was the Sea God who used his divine thoughts to control the artifact and resisted the joint attack of the 3 souls. Bang! Boom! The Sea God controlled the Sea God's trident again and stabbed it in an instant, repelling the Demon Whale King, the Snow Emperor, and the Ice Emperor in one fell swoop, successfully allowing Tang San to escape from danger and escape into the 2 coalition forces. Under the protection of the Sea God's divine thoughts, the 3 souls could not do anything to Tang San. Chu Ye was also dragged by Yuanzhao for a while. Seeing that Tang San was running farther and farther, he understood that he could not kill him this time. Then we have to kill the 100-level priest in front of us first. Anyway, Tang San is only level 86, and it will not be that long before he becomes a god. After killing the powerful enemy in front of him and defeating the coalition forces of the 2 empires, we can directly kill the Sea God Island. Completely destroy this place where the Sea God inherits. Tang San, you can escape for a while, but you can't escape forever. I will kill you sooner or later. This time will be the last time you escape from my hands. Chu Ye's voice echoed in the ears of Tang San, who was fleeing like a stray dog. He was panicked and didn't dare to stop. Chu Ye retracted his thoughts and looked at Yuanzhao coldly. Poseidon's dog, when I kill you, I will go to Poseidon Island to kill Tang San, and I will settle accounts with your master one by one. Boy, you have to survive today first. Die together. 10th soul skill, Thunder Dragon Roar. Roar. Yuanzhao finally released the strongest attack. At this moment, the 100-level strong man possessed the 10-ring divine skill. He turned into a Thunder Sea Dragon and directly burned his own life source. This is the rhythm of dying with Chu Ye. Die together. Just you, a 100-level priest, can't do it. Dragon God power. Martial soul possession. Roar. At this moment, Chu Ye released the power of the Dragon God again, and behind him, the second martial soul, a 4-colored huge anaconda, also appeared. This is, twin martial souls. He can actually make 2 martial souls exist at the same time. What a monster. Monster. Yuanzhao was extremely terrified. That's right, at this moment, Chu Ye's beast spirit possessed him, and his weapon spirit was still in his hand. The 2 spirits coexisted. Not only that, he could also use the spirit skills of the 2 spirits at all when the 2 spirits coexisted. There was no need to switch back and forth. After Chu Ye released the power of the Dragon God, his aura had climbed to the level of a 3rd-level god. In terms of strength, he had absolutely crushed the 100-level priests. 4th spirit skill, 4-colored anaconda body. Chu Ye superimposed all states to the limit, and the dark golden spirit ring under his feet finally shone. This would be the first time that Chu Ye used the 9th spirit skill of the Sword of Gods and Demons. In fact, even he himself could not estimate how powerful it was. 9th spirit skill, Gods and Demons destroy the world. At this moment, light and darkness ignited directly on Chu Ye's body, spreading from his left and right sides respectively. On the left, the golden light extended 100 meters, and the golden light soared into the sky, directly penetrating the clouds. The same was true for the darkness on the right. Light and darkness seemed to completely cover the space of 100 meters around Chu Ye, and everything was trapped in it. The scene was extremely shocking. Fuck, everyone seemed to stop fighting and stared at Chu Ye in amazement. The sky had long been covered by light and darkness. In the sky covered by light and darkness, it seemed that a pair of hands forcibly tore the sky apart. 2 giant swords emerged from the torn sky bit by bit. Behind that 2 giant swords, there was a huge figure. That was Chu Ye, in the form of light and dark. Chapter 333. Killing the 100-level priest, the battle is decided. The figure in the sky was like a god or a demon. Too scary. Is it possible for a human to do this? At this moment, everyone was terrified. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers and all the soul masters below the soul saint level were kneeling on the ground in absolute fear, surrendering and looking at the sky. It's over. The huge figure swung two giant swords and chopped towards Qian in an extremely terrifying manner. No, this is impossible. Ah! In an instant, the divine skills released by Qian burning the source of life were completely destroyed in an instant. The extremely terrifying pressure and power directly chopped Qian to the ground. Bang! Boom boom boom. Ah! Ah! At that moment, the surrounding ground was torn into pieces. Qian knelt on one knee, holding up that giant sword above his head with both hands. Ah! Qian was in great pain, screaming in fear, and burning all his strength to resist desperately, but his body was being pushed down by the force bit by bit. He was suppressed by the force, kneeling on the ground with both knees, his body twisted little by little, and then broke. Crack! 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 The sound of bones breaking. Qian's knees and leg bones broke on the spot. Puff! In addition to piercing through the flesh, the internal bones on the cervical vertebrae also broke. The bones broke one after another, piercing through the flesh. In this process, the terrifying sword intent was also madly cutting his body and flesh. Ah! At this moment, Qian endured inhuman torture and despair, and the extremely miserable screams echoed in everyone's heart, making people panic when they heard it. He could no longer support himself, and in an instant, the giant sword completely bombarded the ground. With a bang, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Qian's body was also chopped in half on the spot, but his head was not separated. So, even though Qian's body was chopped in half, he could not die in just a few seconds. Does it hurt? Chu Ye stepped on Qian's head, looking down at him. Half of Qian's body was connected to his head. Blood was flowing wildly, but he still had a breath. He could only look at the terrible man in front of him in horror. Go to hell. Chu Ye raised his foot and finally stomped on Qian's head. Bang! A 100-level priest was killed by Chu Ye. He killed the priest in that god realm with the power of a mortal soul master. Even the 100-level strongman was killed. How could these people have the ability to reach the realm? The coalition forces of the two empires also completely lost their fighting spirit and the idea of fighting at that moment. They were defeated. The two empires of Tiando and Xingluo were completely defeated. Those who follow me will prosper, and those who oppose me will perish. The final victory belongs to the Wuhan Empire. If you want to live, throw away the weapons in your hands, surrender, and submit to my Wuhan Empire. Chu Ye's domineering voice echoed throughout the battlefield. Many soldiers wanted to throw away their weapons and surrender. We can't surrender. Keep fighting. Keep going. At this time, Douluo Dalu and others jumped out and yelled. There were also the Ocean sect, many high-ranking nobles of the empire, and even powerful figures who had deep ties with the royal family, all encouraging the soldiers to continue fighting. The morale of the two empires had completely collapsed. If Chu Ye's terrifying power joined the battlefield, he only needed one person, plus the 5 souls, to beat the coalition forces of the two empires and make them doubt their lives. Continuing would only mean death, but for the imperial nobles, the royal family, and those who were too deeply involved in the interests and relationships of the empire. If the empire was defeated, they would surely die, but they could not live like the soldiers by surrendering. Kill. Keep killing. Douluo Dalu roared. Douluo Dalu, ha, I forgot about you two ants. Chu Ye sneered and rushed directly towards Douluo Dalu. Kill Chu Ye, the holy son of the spirit hall. The two titled Luo elders left in the Ocean sect led the disciples of the Ocean sect and many soldiers to collectively besiege Chu Ye. Whoever stands in my way will die. 8th soul skill, God and Demon Extreme Ice Stance. Rest. Puff. 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 In a short time, almost all of the Ocean sect was slaughtered. Along the way, blood flowed like a river and corpses were everywhere. At this time, Chu Ye had already killed Douluo Dalu and others. 7th soul skill, White Tiger Shrewd Body. 7th soul skill, Blue Lightning Shrewd Body. 7th soul skill, Green Scale Snape Shrewd Body. Douluo Dalu, Yu Tianhen, and Qian activated their martial soul Shrewd Bodies at the same time. 1st soul skill, Light and Dark Fusion Slash. Chu Ye had no expression on his face. He swung a sword and easily killed Yu Tianhen, and then punched Douluo Dalu to the ground. Bang! Chu Ye grabbed Douluo Dalu's hair, pinched his head with one hand, and slowly lifted Douluo Dalu up. There was no nonsense and emotion, Just like pinching an ant to death, he crushed Daimu Bai's head on the spot and then threw it on the ground. Chu Ye, I want you to die. Yan attacked from the left, but Chu Ye's sword was instantly placed on Yan's neck. He turned his head and looked at Yan calmly. When I killed Bo, your grandfather used 3 soul bombs to let me spare your life. He also told me to tell you not to seek revenge and light well. Now I'm letting you go. You can choose to leave or continue to attack me, but I won't show mercy. Chu Ye took back the sword that was against Yan's neck. He was a man who kept his promises. Now he let Yan go, but if Yan continued to attack, he would not have to show mercy. It was you who killed my grandfather with your own hands. Until now, the Soul Master world actually believed that Bo died at the hands of Ghost Duo and Chrysanthemum Duo, but they didn't know that Chrysanthemum and Ghost didn't do anything at all. Chu Ye almost killed him alone. I want to avenge my grandfather. With Yu Tianhen being killed, Yan actually had no desire to live. With bloodshot green eyes, he came again to kill. But Chu Ye's sword instantly pierced his heart. Yan widened his eyes and looked at himself. Blood gushed out of her chest, and soon her heart stopped beating and she died completely. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 334. Long life the Wuhan Empire, the Imperial Alliance's defeat. Chu Ye pulled out the sword that had pierced through Yan's chest, and without the slightest hesitation, he turned and left. Yan just fell in a pool of blood, and no one cared. Soon, the nobles, royal family, Davis, and some important core figures of the 2 empires were killed one by Liana, Shiyu, Yan, and several titled Douluo elders. As these people died, the grassroots personnel, soldiers, and officers of the coalition forces of the 2 empires all surrendered, and only a part of the military force fled the battlefield. Victory. We won. Long life the Wuhan Empire. Long life the Wuhan Empire. Long life the Wuhan Empire. Countless spirit masters and soldiers of the Wuhan Empire held up the Empire battle chess, waved, and cheered loudly, congratulating the victory of the Wuhan Empire at this moment. And the victory of this battle has almost determined the defeat of the 2 empires. The Wuhan Empire's pace of unifying the continent has become a foregone conclusion and is unstoppable. Next, it will be almost a flag push, and the war will end soon. This is the result everyone wants to see. End the war, welcome the dawn of victory, and the future of the continent. A battle on the Qinghai Plain. Although the Wuhan Empire won a great victory, the high-level combat power of the empire is in serious condition. The 91st level title Duo of the Wuhan Hall, the 9th elder, was ambushed by Tang San and died in battle. The rest of the title Duo elders and the 5 great priests were all seriously injured. Among them, the 3rd priest King Duo was dying, and Bai Dong was also in a very dangerous situation. Now everyone is sitting cross-legged together, self-healing, and there are a large number of healing spirit masters around, who are treating many title Duos. The medical team is also treating the wounds of many injured soldiers. Nana, Shiyu, Yan, you take people to clean up the mess. Okay. Chu Ye said, and immediately walked towards the position of Bai Dong and King Duo. At present, although everyone's situation is very bad, they are only seriously injured, not life-threatening. Bai Dong has passed the dangerous stage under self-adjustment. At present, she is in the situation of King Duo, which is very majestic. I'm afraid he won't be able to hold on for a few minutes before he dies. At this moment, a large number of healing spirit masters are constantly healing King Duo's serious wounds, but the situation cannot be improved. His injuries are too serious. His chest was directly pierced. At the same time, there is still Yonzau's energy remaining on the wound, which continues to cause damage to the body. Ordinary healing spirit masters cannot heal it at all. Get out of the way. A path was opened in the crowd, and Chu Ye supported Qian Renxue and came to King Duo. Your Highness, please save the 3rd priest. Guangling Duo knelt in front of Chu Ye and begged. Elder Guangling, get up quickly. Chu Ye quickly helped Guangling Duo up and said, don't worry, I will do my best to get the 3 priests out of danger. Thank you, Your Highness the Holy Sun. Zhuye, you rest aside first, everyone step back a little. Okay. Chu Ye took a deep breath, and a divine power instantly emanated from his body, covering King Duo. He continued to pour his own energy into it to heal King Duo's injuries. But even if he took action, it was not so easy to save a dying person. If I now have the stable attribute among the 9 attributes of the dragon god, it would not be so difficult to help King Douluo through the dangerous period. Chu Ye's cheeks were already covered with cold sweat, and his soul power was also rapidly consumed. But fortunately, the Qianzhou divine power remaining in King Liuan was being quickly eliminated by him, and King Liuan's life breath was also recovering rapidly, and the injury was also improving at a speed visible to the naked eye. An hour later, Chu Ye's soul power has been consumed by more than half, and his face is a little pale. King Douluo has passed the most dangerous stage, but he is not out of danger yet. Because Chu Ye is not a healing soul master, he is just using his strong enough energy to heal. Although this can also heal, it will cost several times more soul power than a healing soul master. But if you have a stable attribute, it will be different. The stable attribute among the 9 attributes of the dragon is an attribute with extremely strong healing ability. Unfortunately, he is still far away from getting the stable attribute. It's reaching the limit. Chu Ye frowned, and it was a little difficult to maintain the transmission of soul power. At this time, a goose sound came from the sky not far away. Soon, above the clouds in the sky, an extremely beautiful emerald swan rushed out of the clouds and appeared in everyone's sight. Hey! Look! What is that? Emerald swan. It is an extremely rare soul beast, emerald swan. Countless soldiers looked at the sky in surprise. Seeing the appearance of the emerald swan, Chu Ye's somewhat weak face finally showed a smile. The next second, countless emerald lights, accompanied by the emerald swan flapping its wings, floated down the entire battlefield, healing everyone, and the strongest healing emerald light fell on King Douluo. Not only did the wound on King Douluo's chest begin to recover rapidly, but a large number of injured soldiers and soul masters also began to recover quickly. King Douluo finally got out of the dangerous stage. This emerald swan is one of the 7 fierce beasts and one of Emperor Qian's wives. Among the soul beasts, the strongest healing soul master, Emerald Swan, Bridget. Well, I should go back to Chu Ye. I will regret it in due time. I look forward to the day when you lead our soul beast clan back to the god realm. Seeing this, Emperor Qian no longer lingered, flapped his dragon wings, and prepared to fly to Bridget, and then leave together. Emperor Qian, take me to say thank you to your wife. Chu Ye looked at Emperor Qian and said. Qian smiled in his heart. Ha, there's nothing to thank you for. You helped us increase our cultivation by tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years. This little favor is nothing. Let's go. Qian's voice finally echoed, and then he disappeared from sight with Bechi. Although everyone was very curious about Chu Ye's relationship with this group of powerful soul beasts, no one asked more questions. Third priest, after you go back, take a good rest for a while. Chu Ye gently patted King Douluo's shoulder. Thank you, His Royal Highness the Holy Sun, for saving my life. King Liuan, as well as Guangling and several other priests and elders, were extremely grateful. Teacher, Chu Ye, you should also go back to Ihun City first. Leave the next thing to me. Chu Ye's eyes condensed a little. Prepare to continue to lead the army to take down the 2 empires in one fell swoop and completely complete the unification of the empire. After the Wuhan Empire officially unifies this continent, Chu Ye will lead his troops to capture the Sea God Island and destroy the little punk. Chapter 335 Bai Dong and Qian Renxue confess, Chu Ye's spirit evolves again. All troops, listen up. Follow me to Xingluo City. Take down Xingluo Empire first. Yes. Your Highness the Holy Sun. Let's go. Chu Ye rode on his warhorse, and Qiu, Yan, and Dulina also rode on warhorses and followed behind Chu Ye. Behind them were countless soldiers and officers who followed him collectively. Chu Ye led the army and headed straight for Xingluo City, the capital of Xingluo Empire. Bai Dong, Qian Renxue, the elders who worshipped, and all the seriously injured titled Luo elders all returned to Ihun City to recuperate. On the way back, Bai Dong and Qian Renxue sat in a carriage. The knot between the mother and daughter had already been untied in this battle. Bai Dong also completely let go of the hatred and resentment in her heart. She decided to live a good life in the future and treat her daughter Qian Renxue well. She also stopped seeking revenge and no longer thought about destroying the foundation of the Angel clan. She decided to let go of the hatred and resentment in her heart. The power of the Rakshasa god can no longer affect Bai Dong's mind. Because, from the beginning, Chu Ye's extreme light attribute has been invisibly consuming and affecting Bai Dong's evil power of the Rakshasa god. In the future, there will be the angel god with the extreme light attribute, Qian Renxue, and Chu Ye's extreme light attribute. Even if Bai Bai Dong becomes the Rakshasa god, it will be difficult for her mind to be controlled by it. People can control the gods, but they are not necessarily controlled by the gods. Just like the Sure God, who controls the power of killing, and the Evil God, one of the kings of gods, are also evil forces, but they will not lose themselves because of the gods. As Bai Bai Dong put down her inner hatred, her mind gradually turned to goodness. She decided to confess everything to Qian Renxue. Qian Renxue's heart was shocked. This was the first time that Bai Bai Dong called her so affectionately. Do you know why I have always treated you like this? Why? Qian Renxue looked at Bai Bai Dong. Bai Bai Dong took a deep breath, hesitated for a long time, and finally untied the scar in her heart and told Qian Renxue everything. Back then, your father Qian Zhongji forced me into a secret room. What did you say? Your father actually did such a thing? Qian Renxue's face changed drastically, and she looked at Bai Bai Dong's face in disbelief. For a woman, this can be a lifetime pain, a lump that she can never forget in her life. If Qian Renxue herself was like this, forcibly defiled by others, she would feel that she was dirty, no longer worthy of Chu Ye, and even committed suicide. I hate Qian Zhongji, hate you, and hate the Angel Clan, so I have never been able to accept you. Qian Renxue finally understood the reason. Some things cannot be made up, but she can understand Bai Bai Dong in this matter alone. There is one more thing you should know. Qian Zhongji did not die at the hands of Tang Ao. Although he was seriously injured by Tang Ao, he did not die. It was me who took advantage of his weakness to kill him. You killed my father. Qian Renxue's face changed again. If Bai Bai Dong was forced into the secret room, Qian Renxue could understand and forgive her for this, but when she learned that Qian Zhongji was killed by Bai Bai Dong, Qian Renxue felt very complicated. Although Qian Zhongji was still young when he died and did not have a particularly deep affection for him, he was her biological father after all, and the person who killed her biological father was right in front of her, which made her a little difficult to accept for a moment. Originally, Qian Renxue was planning to recognize her mother and call Bai Bai Dong Mom, but suddenly, it was a little difficult to say. Qian Renxue fell silent. Bai Bai Dong sighed when she saw this, and did not want to explain anything. She said, I can understand that you find it difficult to accept it for a while, and I don't expect you to forgive me. Okay, stop talking, let me be quiet. The mother and daughter fell silent, no longer communicating, each thinking about something in their hearts. On the other side, Chu Ye entered the Dragon God space again while leading the army forward. Because the war was imminent, the divine soul ring that Chu Ye had given when he resisted the destruction of the nine-color universe and completed the fourth test of the Dragon God had not been absorbed. During this march, he planned to add a fourth soul ring to the beast martial soul. After absorbing this divine soul ring, my soul power will be at least raised to level 97. As for the age of the soul ring, I don't know if it can reach 1,000,000 years, a god-level soul ring. Chu Ye looked forward to it in his heart. Because his current physical and mental strength have reached the god-level level, then according to the limit that the soul ring absorption can bear, the fourth soul ring of Chu Ye's second martial soul should also be able to reach the level of a god-level soul ring. Chu Ye thought about it, and without further delay, he immediately began to absorb. His soul power began to soar, directly from level 96 to level 97. Soul rings also began to be produced, from white for 10 years, all the way to red for 10,000 years, and the red changed again, and a new color appeared, red, began to turn into pink, with gold in the pink. Pink and gold soul ring. This means that the age of Chu Ye's soul ring has reached the level of 1,000,000-year god-level soul ring. Bang! Boom boom boom. But at this moment, the energy dissipated. Chu Ye's soul power remained at the peak of level 97, and the age of the soul ring remained at the level of a god level, at the same level as the soul ring of the deep sea demon whale king. It's a pity that it didn't reach the level of a god level soul ring. Logically, my body has reached the god level, and the soul ring should be like this. Is it because my soul power has not been completely transformed into divine power? Chu Ye pondered, a little confused. However, it doesn't matter. When he completes all the tests and inherits the position of Dragon God, the age of all the spirit rings will surely increase collectively. At the time, several spirit rings close to 1,000,000 years old may all enter the God ring level. At this time, Chu Ye's beast martial soul evolved again. 4-color giant anaconda martial soul evolved, 5-color Jiao Huang, martial soul quality. top, with 5 attributes of ice, fire, earth, wind, and light. At the same time, it also gave a very strong attack-type soul skill. The 4th soul skill, Jiao Huan Fierce Light. Chu Ye's power has undoubtedly increased again, but for him who is now infinitely close to the combat power of the 3rd level god, it actually doesn't change much. Because he can already beat people below the god level at will, and being a little stronger doesn't make any difference, and this strength can't let him really challenge the power of the 3rd level god. 97 level peak, now I'm not far from 99 level. Chu Ye smiled and retracted his thoughts. His eyes were fixed on the content of the 5th test of the Dragon God in front of him. Chapter 336 The 5th test of the Dragon God, Dragon Tomb of the Divine Realm, Dragon God in front of him. The 5th test of the Dragon God has emerged, and the test content. The 5th test of the Dragon God's 9 tests. The test content, go to the Dragon Tomb, find the Dragon God core, and you can complete the 5th test. The deadline, 3 years. Dragon Tomb. Dragon God core. Seeing the content of the 5th test, Chu Ye's face changed. The Dragon God core is the Dragon core of the Dragon God. This is the essence of the Dragon God. The energy contained in it is very huge, and it is also a must-have for becoming a Dragon God. Back then, when Chu Ye learned that his inheritance of the throne was the Dragon God, he actually thought about whether he should get the Dragon God core. Now, it really appeared, in his test content. But how easy is it to get the Dragon God core? The Dragon God core is in the Dragon Tomb. The Dragon Tomb was the place where the Dragon clan fell after the battle between the human god, the beast god, and the god realm. There are countless dragon bones and remains there, and even the ribs of the Dragon God back then are all in the Dragon Tomb. And where is the Dragon Tomb? It's in the Douluo God realm. According to the current timeline, the Dragon Tomb has not yet left the Douluo God realm, and still belongs to the scope of the Douluo God realm. Chu Ye is now just a 97th level soul master in the mortal world. How can a mortal go to the God realm, enter the Dragon Tomb, and find that Dragon God core? How could the God realm allow a mortal without a God position to break into the God realm? It is even more impossible for him to enter the Dragon Tomb. Even if Chu Ye sneaked into the God realm through some special methods, the Dragon Tomb must be guarded by the gods. It must be extremely difficult to get in. What he faces is to enter the God realm, avoid the investigation of the gods in the God realm, and then find that Dragon Tomb all the way, and again avoid the gods guarding around the Dragon Tomb, and finally sneak into the Dragon Tomb and find that Dragon God core. How can a mortal soul master do this? Even if Chu Ye's current combat power is infinitely close to the 3rd level god, it is as difficult as ascending to heaven. Chu Ye is currently invincible in the mortal world, but his power in the god realm is very ordinary, infinitely close to the combat power of the 3rd level god, and a 3rd level god residence can trap him. And there are more than 1,000 level 3 gods in the god realm alone. This is only the 5th test of the Dragon God. It's too difficult. The 8th test is about right, at least the 6th test will do. Chu Ye couldn't help but complain. His Dragon God test is different from all the test of inheritance of the god position. If things go wrong, Chu Ye will not be able to inherit the Dragon God even if he breaks through the 100th level. It is too difficult to complete the 5th test in 3 years. Chu Ye has 6 years for the 6th test. If it is 6 years, he may be able to grow his strength to a level equivalent to that of a god, so as to find an opportunity to enter the god realm and break into the Dragon Tomb. But now there are only 3 years. Chu Ye's strength, at most, will be the peak of level 99 by then, which is still the strength of a mortal. Let alone the obstacles, Chu Ye doesn't know how to go to the god realm now. Does it have to rely on Chu Ye? Chu Ye thought to himself. If he had to go to the god realm, Chu Ye did have a way in mind, that is, after Qian Renxue became the god of angels, he could bring a family member with him through the 1st level god. Qian Renxue would take Chu Ye to live in the god realm, and then he could find an opportunity to enter the Dragon Tomb. But Chu Ye and Qian Renxue still wanted to live in the mortal realm for a few more decades. Mortal soul masters, after breaking through to become gods, they don't have to go to the god realm immediately. The god realm can allow people who have just become gods to live in the mortal realm for 100 years. After 100 years, they must go to the god realm. Therefore, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue's original plan was to go to the god realm together after they both became gods and stayed in the mortal realm for 100 years. No, after the current matter is over, I must think of another way. Chu Ye thought to himself. At this time, the bright dragon pillar in front of him suddenly emanated a very strong spatial force. What is that? Chu Ye ran away quickly. He stood in front of the bright dragon pillar in an instant, and unexpectedly discovered that there was a space portal here. Chu Ye quickly thought of something. Could it be that, going in from here? Can I go directly to the dragon tomb? It had never appeared before, but it appeared during the 5th test. It was very likely that the space portal in front of him led to the dragon tomb in that god realm, which made Chu Ye very happy. If this space portal really leads to the dragon tomb, then the probability of completing the 5th test will be greatly increased. The difficulty of the dragon god's 5th test has also been reduced by several levels. It can be done in 3 years. However, even if I can directly enter the dragon tomb and find that dragon god core, it will not be a short-term thing, and there must be many unknown dangers in it. Now is not the time. Chu Ye was thinking. He was not in a hurry to enter the space portal because there were too many uncertain factors. He had to wait until he was more confident. Anyway, there were still 3 years left. Now, he had to make his strength as stronger as possible, and completely resolve all the things and threats on the continent. Then concentrate on completing his Dragon God assessment. The next second, Chu Ye left the Dragon God space. For the next period of time, Chu Ye led the army and killed all the way to Douluo City. The Douluo Empire had no resistance at all and was struggling to death. But they could not resist the army led by Chu Ye himself. Under the leadership of Chu Ye, every soldier seemed to be injected with chicken blood. They became braver and braver as they fought, sweeping away everything. Kill. In less than 10 days, the army of the Spirit Empire had already arrived at the capital of the Douluo Empire, Douluo City. Bang, bang, bang. The sound of the war drums of the Spirit Empire's army resounded throughout the Douluo City. Emperor Chu Ye and many members of the royal family were now huddled in the palace, terrified. It's over. It's over, it's over. We're over. The Douluo Empire is over. All soldiers, listen up. Follow me to take down Douluo City. Chu Ye held up the chess piece of the Spirit Empire high in the air, and the next second, he flew directly to the gate of Douluo City. Gods and demons Luo. Chu Ye of the Spirit Empire is coming. Quick. Stop him, stop him. Guard the city gate. Break. Chu Ye looked calm and swung his sword fiercely. Rest. Bang. Boom, boom, boom. Wow. The extremely solid city gate and the city wall were instantly shattered and collapsed by Chu Ye's sword. With one sword, hundreds of soldiers were killed on the spot and knocked away. As the city wall collapsed, the soldiers standing on Douluo City also fell down one after another. Too strong. Too strong. We can't stop it at all. Puff. Agar. The commander of Douluo City was also easily beheaded by Chu Ye. 10,000 troops took the head of the enemy general from among them. Chapter 337. Tianbo, Douluo is destroyed, and the Wuhan Empire unifies the continent. Chu Ye pulled down the Douluo Empire's chess piece, threw it away, and then inserted the Wuhan Empire's battle flag. This scene was exciting. From now on, Douluo City will belong to the Wuhan Empire. Everyone, follow me to the Douluo Palace. Yes. The city gate has been broken. Follow His Royal Highness the Holy Sun and charge towards the Douluo Palace. Kill. The army of the Wuhan Empire began to rush into Douluo City frantically, rushing all the way to the Douluo Palace. A moment later. Spray. Chu Ye slashed open the palace gate with a sword, slaughtered all the way in, and in a few seconds he killed his way to the Douluo Palace and killed in front of the Douluo Emperor. Seeing Chu Ye appear, the Douluo Emperor was so scared that he fell off the throne and sat on the ground. Protect the Emperor. Protect the Emperor. Get out. Chu Ye broke through with a sword. The hundreds of guards who were blocking in front of him were instantly blown away, and the sword of gods and demons was placed on the neck of the Douluo Emperor. The Douluo Emperor's legs softened and he knelt in front of Chu Ye, his eyes filled with fear. I'm sorry, Your Majesty, I'll take your head today. Chu Ye was also happy and cut off the head of the Douluo Emperor with a sword. Puff. A generation of emperors was beheaded just like that. With the beheading of that Douluo Emperor, the Douluo Empire will also be completely destroyed. From now on, there will no longer be a Douluo Empire on this continent. The Douluo Empire is hereby declared extinct. The huge Douluo Empire was destroyed just like that. The entire Douluo City was quickly ruled and controlled by the power of the Wuhan Empire. As Douluo City was taken, the territories of the Douluo Empire to the south all declared their surrender and were incorporated into the Wuhan Empire. There were also some places that refused to obey, and they were all taken down by the Wuhan Empire's army one by one. When the Wuhan Empire's large military forces were quickly taking over and rectifying the territory of the Xingluo Empire, Chu Ye had already led another group of troops and headed all the way to the capital of the Tiando Empire, Tiando City. The same result, the Tiando Empire could not resist the power of the Wuhan Empire, and even after learning that the Xingluo Empire had been destroyed, the Tiando Empire had no confidence and courage to resist. Before Chu Ye led his army to kill, many regions had already surrendered, and some even took the initiative to rebel to help the Wuhan Empire to quickly complete the unification of the Wuhan Empire and take down Tiando. In less than 10 days, the army led by Chu Ye had entered Tiando City and beheaded Emperors Yi. The emperors of the two empires were killed by Chu Ye alone. Chu Ye then pointed his sword at the crown prince of the Tiando Empire, Douluo Dalu. At this moment, Douluo Dalu knelt on his knees in front of Chu Ye, with a dead look on his face. He looked at Chu Ye, who was holding his sword against his neck, and said, "The winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. It is your Wuhan Empire that won. I have nothing to say. Kill me. It is worth dying in your hands, Chu Ye." After Douluo Dalu said this, he closed his eyes and waited to be executed. Puff. You are also a character. The next second, Chu Ye decisively cut off Douluo Dalu's head, without any personal hatred, just because they were in different positions and camps. After killing Douluo Dalu, Chu Ye walked all the way to a room in the palace. Open the door. Chu Ye walked in. In the room, there was a maid who was trembling with fear and huddled at the foot of the wall. On the bed, there was a eunuch lying limp. This eunuch was Yu Xiaogan. Back then, when Yu Xiaogan shamelessly ran to the Pope's palace and asked Bai Dong for the method of practicing twin martial spirits, Chu Ye broke his limbs, and later Bai Dong stepped on his third leg. Over the years, Yu Xiaogan has been like a vegetable, lying in bed every day and night, and his days are like years. Because of Tang San, he has been lying in the Tiando Palace. Seeing Chu Ye rushing in, Yu Xiaogan suddenly became like a mad dog, roaring at Chu Ye crazily. "Chu Ye! It's you. It's you. You've made me suffer so much. I want you to die. I want you to die." Yu Xiaogan was emotionally mad, feeling a little abnormal. Indeed, all 4 limbs were broken, and even the third leg was crushed. He lost the imagination of being a man, and even physically couldn't act. Like a useless person, he couldn't go anywhere, and he stayed in the room for several years. If he were a normal person, he would indeed go crazy after staying for a long time, and his mind was a little abnormal. And Yu Xiaogan had this day. In his opinion, it was all Chu Ye's fault, and he completely lost control when he saw Chu Ye. "You can't even stand up, Yu Xiaogan." Chu Ye slowly walked to Yu Xiaogan's bed. "You. What are you going to do? Are you going to kill me? Come on. I don't want to live anymore. Kill me. Actually, I almost forgot about a piece of trash like you, but since someone wants me to kill you, I'll just come and send you off. Of course, I won't let you die easily. You, what are you going to do? If you want to kill me, just give me a quick death." Yu Xiaogan was terrified. Chu Ye had a blank expression on his face, and flames had already condensed on his palms, slowly pressing on the bed. "No, don't. You can't do this to me. Don't do this. Please don't be so cruel to me. Please, I was wrong, no. No. Ah." The fire instantly ignited the bed, and burned towards Yu Xiaogan's body bit by bit. Ah! Yu Xiaogan just lay on the bed, screaming in despair, and finally burned cleanly with the bed. Yu Xiaogan was burned to death. Just like that, the Tiando Empire was destroyed. The Wuhan Empire won the war, the final victory. The war. It's finally over. The chaotic order of this continent will soon be restored to its past state. In fact, the future continent will be more harmonious, prosperous, and stronger, and the people will be able to live and work in peace and contentment. From now on this continent, there will no longer be the Xingluo Empire and the Tiando Empire, and it will no longer be the era of the 3 empires. In this era, there is only one empire on this continent, and that is the Wuhan Empire. The Wuhan Empire will absolutely rule this continent. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue have already made plans for the future development, management, and system of the Wuhan Empire. They will work together to create an empire that is as perfect as possible. A country that benefits the world, the people, and makes this continent better and better. A month later, Chu Ye has returned to Wuhan City, the Pope's palace. Although now the Wuhan Empire has unified the entire continent, the Xingluo and Tiando empires have been destroyed, and all land and territory have been incorporated into the Wuhan Empire. But chapter 338, when you become the god of angels, we will hold a wedding and get married. But the Wuhan Empire has just completed its unification. There are too many troubles, big and small. The Wuhan Empire is busy now. First, it has to completely take over the territories and towns of the two empires, arrange personnel, positions, and management. In addition, because of the 2 years of war, many lawless elements have appeared, and they need to be sent to suppress and deal with them, as well as various subsequent arrangements, etc. There are too many matters that need to be improved and solved after the Wuhan Empire is completely unified. Especially in the initial stage of the unification of the empire, Chu Ye needs to do enough inspection work, especially for the managers and people in power in various regions and cities in the future, who need to be strictly selected. Otherwise, it is not impossible for the middle and grassroots of the Wuhan Empire to appear as corrupt as the original two empires. Therefore, the supervisory hall established by Chu Ye and Qian Renxue will also participate in it to improve the future system of the Wuhan Empire. For the Wuhan Empire, everything has just begun. After a month, Bai Baidong and Qian Renxue's injuries have recovered by more than half. As for the many seriously injured titled Douluo elders and the worship elders, they still need a period of closed-door cultivation before they can recover. On this day, Chu Ye came to the worship hall again and found Qian Renxue. At this moment, Qian Renxue was sitting cross-legged in the angel inheritance land, continuing to cultivate and recover from her injuries, and Qian Dalu was assisting Qian Renxue in her recovery. Zhuye, how is your injury recovery? Chu Ye walked to Qian Renxue. Qian Renxue smiled slightly. Don't worry, my injuries will be healed in a week at most, and then I can continue my angel 8th test. Now Qian Renxue's 8th test has been carried out for almost 2/3, and soon, she will be able to complete the 8th test. With the completion of the 8th test, Qian Renxue can immediately proceed to the 9th test, open the door to the divine world, and finally become a god, becoming the god of angels. It is impossible for Qian Renxue to become a god in more than half a year. But Qian Renxue's becoming a god requires Qian Dalu's sacrifice, which means that when Qian Renxue becomes a god, Qian Dalu's life will be coming to an end. Chu Ye knows that Qian Dalu was the most important relative of Qian Renxue besides himself, so he doesn't want to see Qian Renxue sad. So this time Chu Ye came to the worship hall to solve this matter, change Qian Dalu's fate, and let him live. Chu Ye has thought of a way, but he can't tell Qian Renxue about this matter for the time being, because it is related to the angel test. Ha, that's good. Chu Ye smiled and said gently, Zhuye, after you complete the angel 9 tests and become the angel god, let's get married and hold a wedding, okay? If it weren't for Qian Renxue, who had to concentrate on the angel 9 tests, they would have been married at this moment. Chu Ye also wanted to give Qian Renxue a name as soon as possible, officially marry her, and let her become his real wife. When Qian Renxue becomes a god, the things that should be done on the continent will almost be over. At the time, they will hold a wedding. Well, then we will ask Grandpa to be a wedding witness. Qian Renxue smiled happily. Okay. Chu Ye also smiled gently. Qian Dalu silently listened to the two children talking about marriage and wedding. Although there was no expression on his face, he felt a little sad and lonely in his heart. Perhaps for Qian Dalu, the most regrettable thing was that he could not witness Qian Renxue becoming the god of angels with his own eyes, and could not see the wedding of Qian Renxue and Chu Ye with his own eyes. Alas, shucks you, I'm afraid Grandpa can't witness your wedding with Chu Ye. Qian Dalu sighed in his heart. During the conversation, Chu Ye secretly glanced at Qian Dalu, who was not far behind him. He felt the faint sadness in Qian Dalu's eyes. Qian Dalu left silently, giving Chu Ye and Qian Renxue time to get along. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue snuggled together, chatting and talking. After a while, Chu Ye got to the point. Zhuye, lend me the resurrection armor I gave you for a while. I have a great use for it. Resurrection armor? What do you want the resurrection armor for? Is it life-threatening for the divine test? Qian Renxue suddenly became worried. No, don't worry, I won't be in any danger, but I need its power now. Chu Ye said. Okay, then I'll give the resurrection armor to you. Qian Renxue took out the resurrection armor without hesitation and handed it to Chu Ye. She didn't ask the reason for the distance. She knew Chu Ye, and when it was time to say it, he would tell her clearly. Chu Ye silently accepted the resurrection armor. He wanted the resurrection armor just to save Qian Dalu's life. The magic skill of the resurrection armor, resurrection, is different from all Chu Ye's life-saving skills. It puts you in a dead end first and then resurrects you. After dying first, you will be resurrected in 2 seconds. This is a skill that will kill you once. Therefore, when Qian Dalu put on the resurrection armor, sacrificed his life to Qian Renxue, and opened the door of inheritance, he died, but he would be resurrected again because of the skills of the resurrection armor. At the time, the door to the divine world had been opened, and Qian Renxue had also entered the last angel's 9 trials, but Qian Dalu was still able to survive. This was Chu Ye's plan to save Qian Dalu. Qian Renxue asked, Chu Ye, when do you plan to attack the Sea God Island? 2 months later, after the side effects of my Dragon God power disappear, I will lead several titled Luo Elders and some Soul Masters to attack the Sea God Island, completely eliminate the hidden danger of Tang San, and take down the Sea God Island. Chu Ye's eyes condensed a little. 2 months. By then, I should have almost completed the 8th trial. If time permits, I will go with you then. Qian Renxue thought for a while and said, Okay. Chu Ye smiled slightly. After communicating for a while, Chu Ye left the angel inheritance place and planned to find Qian Dalu, but Qian Dalu took the initiative to find Chu Ye. Qian Dalu had been waiting for Chu Ye to do something. There were some things he planned to tell Chu Ye in person. Great worshipper. Chu Ye, come with me, find a quiet place, let's have a good chat. Okay. Seeing this, Chu Ye followed Qian Dalu. The two came to a tall building in the worship hall. Qian Dalu waved his hand and set up a barrier around to prevent their communication from being heard. It was very windy today. There was a little typhoon. The wind was whistling. Qian Dalu stood on the edge of the tall building, looking into the distance. The wind kept blowing his cloak and his long golden hair. Chu Ye stood silently behind him, without speaking, but he could feel the solemn atmosphere, waiting for Qian Dalu to speak. Chapter 339 Changing Qian Dalu's fate. Chu Ye lets his troops to attack Poseidon Island. Qian Dalu stood like this for about a minute, and finally spoke. Chu Ye, you are the most extraordinary genius I have ever seen in my life. Although I can't feel that you have any divine power, I think that in the future you will become a god like Xiaoxiu and ascend to the realm of gods. I feel relieved to have you by her side to accompany her and take care of her. From now on, I will leave Xiaoxiu to you. Qian Dalu slowly turned around and looked at the young man in front of him seriously. His words sounded like he was explaining his last wishes. Chu Ye also saw it. Great priest, you? Qian Dalu sighed in his heart and patted Chu Ye's shoulder gently. My life is about to come to an end, and I will no longer be able to accompany Xiaoxiu. I hope you can take good care of her for me, and I also hope that you don't do anything to let her down. If you dare to let her down, I will not let you go even if I become a ghost. Please rest assured, great priest, I, Chu Ye, only love Qian Renxue in my life, and I will never do anything to let Qian Renxue down. Chu Ye could not promise seriously. Then he said, It's just that great priest, I think that your life is still far from the end. Don't you want to see with your own eyes what Qian Renxue looks like after becoming the god of angels? Don't you want to witness my wedding with Zwe with your own eyes, and don't you want to hug your future great-granddaughters and great-grandchildren with your own hands? Chu Ye said with a smile. Qian Dalu felt more and more heartbroken when he heard these words. Once a person has hope, and something he wants to do, death is an extremely painful thing. Of course he wants to. Of course he also wants to hug his great-grandson. But Qian Dalu was the great priest of the god of angels. He has understood his mission since he became the great priest, and he must do this. Ha ha. Qian Dalu shook his head and smiled bigly. Before Qian Dalu could say why he would die, Chu Ye said it first, and it still shocked Qian Dalu. Great priest, I actually have a way to make Zwe the god of angels and save your life at the same time. What did you say? Qian Dalu heard this, his eyes widened, and he was shocked. First, Chu Ye actually knew that he was going to sacrifice to Qian Renxue, and second, when he knew it clearly, he still dared to say that he would save his life. Great priest, have you seen this? Chu Ye took out the resurrection armor. This is the divine armor you gave to Xiaoxiu. Qian Dalu had seen it once, but didn't know its specific use. Yes, this armor is called the resurrection armor, it can make people die and be reborn. Chu Ye said. Death and then rebirth. Qian Dalu was shocked. That's right. As long as you put it on, when you sacrifice your life to open the door of inheritance for Zwe, you will indeed die, but because of its effect, you will be resurrected again in 2 seconds. In this way, you can have the best of both worlds. Qian Dalu was extremely excited when he heard it, but he suddenly thought of something and asked seriously. Chu Ye, does Xiaoxiu know about this matter? Don't worry, Great Priest, she doesn't know about this. Her. Qian Dalu heaved a sigh of relief when he heard it, because Qian Renxue's 8th test could not know in advance that he was going to sacrifice. He looked at the resurrection armor in front of him, his heart was moved, and he also had an extremely strong desire to live, but he still had some concerns about doing so. Let me think about it carefully. Great Priest, there is no hesitation, accept it, for Chu Ye, your existence is very important, and we also need your existence. Put it on and survive. Chu Ye handed it directly to Qian Dalu. Qian Dalu's body stiffened for a few seconds, and he hesitated and struggled for several seconds. In the end, he accepted Chu Ye's resurrection armor, shook his head and smiled. I am so lucky to have a grandson-in-law like you. Thank you, kid. Qian Dalu was already very excited. Time flies, and it's almost 2 months later. The side effects of Chu Ye's dragon god power are almost gone. He is preparing people in advance to lead people to attack the Sea God Island, kill Tang San, and incorporate the Sea God Island. After nearly 2 months of recuperation, the injuries of many elders are almost healed. So this time, Chu Ye brought Douluo, Ghost Douluo, Snake Spear Douluo, Demon Subduing Douluo, Qianjin Douluo, and Guangling Douluo. 6 titled Douluos. Originally, Chu Ye only planned to bring 3 titled Douluos to clean up the trash, not counting the elders who volunteered to assist Chu Ye. Like these elders, usually, except for Qian Renxue and Qian Dalu, no one else can be invited. Now there is one more Chu Ye. And the elders, after the battle with the priest, Guanlin, Qianjun, Jingmo, all broke through the realm that they were stuck in for a long time. Qianjun, Jingmo, and Guanling all broke through to level 97 soul power. The strength is getting stronger and stronger. As for Douluo, he has also reached the peak of level 96. If things go well, he may break through to level 97 inches the next 10 years. Is everyone here? All together, Your Highness the Son of God. Shimao, Chu Ye, Guanlin, Jingmo, Qianjun, all bent and stretched slightly and stood in front of Chu Ye, and there were 1,000 elite soul masters of the Spirit Hall behind them. Okay. Let's go to Sea God Island. Yes. Chu Ye led the 6 titled Douluos and 1,000 elite soul masters and set off all the way to the coastal area. At the same time Chu Ye set out to attack Sea God Island. Qian Renxue is about to complete the 8th test. Soon, it will be time for Qian Dalu to sacrifice and open the door of inheritance. Bai Bai Dong is also preparing for the final Rakshasa 9th test. The 2 of them will most likely inherit the throne and become first-level gods during the same period. At this moment, on the Sea God Island, Tang San is living a miserable life every day, worried and anxious. He doesn't know when Chu Ye will come and kill him. Now he is worried to death every day. He is afraid that he will be killed before he inherits the Sea God throne. The Sea God is also very anxious now. Not only is his heir afraid that he can't keep it, he also feels that Qian Renxue, the inheritor of the angel god, is about to become a god. Once Qian Renxue becomes a god and ascends to the god realm, and tells the god realm committee about him sending priests to the lower world to kill people, then he, the sea god, will definitely be sanctioned by the god realm. But for the sea god, the most important point at the moment is to kill Chu Ye as soon as possible and let Tang San become the sea god. As long as Tang San inherited his throne, Poseidon could fly away, leave the god realm, and be free and unrestrained. The god realm would not be able to control the mistakes he had made before. So, in the past few months, Poseidon used the power of Poseidon left on Poseidon Island to secretly help Tang San in various ways to quickly practice the Clear Sky Hammer martial spirit. Chapter 340 Poseidon once again gives Tang San a cheat. Tang San breaks through level 90. With the secret help of Poseidon's power, he can ensure that Tang San will not explode and die because of giving too many soul rings to the Clear Sky Hammer. And now Tang San has also cultivated the Clear Sky Hammer martial spirit to the 6th soul ring, and his soul power has reached level 88. But Poseidon knows that this is still too slow, and Chu Ye will not give Poseidon and Tang San more time to develop, so Poseidon gave another divine decree to his worker, Bosexit. Bosexit, continue to let Tang San add the 7th soul ring to the Clear Sky Hammer, and you give this divine soul ring to him to absorb. Poseidon passed another divine decree to Bosexit. Divine soul ring. Lord Poseidon, in order to let Tang San inherit the throne faster, he actually made such an exception. Bosexit sighed in his heart, thinking that Poseidon had gone too far. He reduced the difficulty in various ways, made various exceptions, and now he made an exception and gave another divine soul ring. Why do we need to assess this? Just pass on the throne directly. But Bosexa just grumbled in her heart, not daring to complain, but she was a little lonely in her heart. She believed in the god of the sea all her life and did so many things for the god of the sea. But she had to sacrifice her life to help Tang San become a god. The god of the sea gave Tang San all kinds of cheats, which was equivalent to bringing Bosexa one step closer to death. The most important thing was that Bosexa felt that Tang San was not worthy at the position of the god of the sea. Although he felt a little bit bad in his heart, Bosexa still chose to obey. Don't worry, Lord Poseidon. Bosexa looked at the God-given soul ring in his hand, and then found Tang San. Although Tang San had added the 5th and 6th 10,000-year level soul rings to the Clear Sky Hammer martial spirit in the past few months, and his soul power had reached level 88, he also knew that he didn't have much time, and was worried about how to improve his soul power as soon as possible. Bosexa brought good news. Tang San, this is a God-given soul ring that Sea God has given you as an exception. Now, absorb it immediately. The power of Sea God will protect you from absorbing the 7th soul ring. Tang San was very surprised when he heard this. Thank you, Lord Poseidon. Thank you, Lord Sea God. With this God-given soul ring, my soul power may be able to break through to level 90 inches one step. Reach the realm of titled Douluo. As long as I reach level 90, and then add the last circle of the 9th soul ring, I can take the 9th test of Sea God and achieve the position of Sea God in one fell swoop. Great. Great. Tang San was very excited. This day was finally coming. He no longer hesitated and sat down cross-legged immediately to absorb. With Tang San's current situation, he could have endured a soul ring of 100,000 years. Therefore, the 7th soul ring of the Clear Sky Hammer must also be of 100,000 years. After several hours of absorbing the God-given soul ring, a circle of red soul rings finally appeared on Tang San's body. His soul power began to soar, easily breaking through from the peak of level 88 to level 89, and his soul power was still soaring. A few hours later, Tang San's soul power instantly reached level 90, and finally broke through the bottleneck at this moment and entered the titled Douluo realm. Success. I successfully stepped into level 90. Titled Douluo, this is the power of titled Douluo. Tang San was very excited. He could feel how big the gap was between the soul power after breaking through level 90 and level 89. 7th soul skill, Clear Sky Hammer martial soul body. Hey! Tang San couldn't wait to try it, the state of the Clear Sky Hammer martial soul body, and in an instant the power of the Clear Sky Hammer was raised to the extreme. This is the power of the Clear Sky Hammer, the power of the weapon soul body state. If combined with the power of the ring explosion, it will be very terrible. Tang San felt the current power and was very surprised. When he returned to the mainland, he asked the Ocean sect to come out and called on the coalition forces of the two empires to launch the King High Plains campaign. During that crucial battle, Tang San had already learned the Great Zumi Hammer and the secret Ring Blast. Now Tang San has mastered it. The God-level Ring Blast. In the state of the Ocean Hammer Soul True Body, if he uses the Great Zumi Hammer Secret Ring Blast, plus the power he has now, the power of this move is enough to be very terrifying. But Tang San is very clear that just like this, he is far from being the opponent of the monster Chu Ye. He must become the Sea God, and only by becoming the Sea God can he take revenge. Now I only need the Blue Silver Emperor Martial Spirit, the last 9th soul ring, and I can complete the 8th test of the Sea God. But this 9th soul ring. The requirements of the 8th test of the Sea God are to cultivate the martial spirit to the 9-ring level and all the soul bones. Tang San's arms that were cut off in the battle on the King High Plains have been repaired with the help of the Sea God, so the soul bones are still complete. Now all he needs is to get the 9th soul ring of the Blue Silver Emperor. Tang San set his eyes on Bosexa again and shamelessly asked, Master Bosexa, please ask Master Sea God, can you give me another God-given soul ring? I can't actively establish communication with Master Sea God. Only when Master Sea God and gods will come, can I get in touch with Master Sea God. But even Master Sea God can't just condense a God-given soul ring. God-given soul rings can't be produced infinitely, even if they are gods. Bosexa said calmly. Bosexa was telling the truth. God-given soul rings are not something that gods can condense whenever they want. There are restrictions and a certain price to pay. If God-given soul rings are condensed too frequently, it will also affect the position of Sea God. Now Sea God is at a level where he can't give Tang San another God-given soul ring right away. However, in order to let Tang San absorb the 9th soul ring right away and complete the 8th test of Sea God has thought of a way, although this method is a bit inhuman. Just when Tang San was asking both sexes, the seer god's will came again. This time it was open, and it sounded in both sexy and Tang San's ears. Both sexes let Tang San hunt down the demon soul great white shark Xiaobao and obtained the 9th soul ring. The majestic and sacred voice of the seer god sounded around. What? Lord Seer God? This, both sexy and Tang San were shocked when they heard it, but in Tang San's eyes, at that moment, a trace of imperceptible killing intent flashed. Both sexy was emotional, and a strong sense of opposition was ignited. He couldn't understand, and gritted his teeth and said, Lord Seer God. Xiaobao was the mount that followed you through life and death. After you became a god, Xiaobao and their demon soul great white shark clan were even more loyal, and have always protected our Seer God Island. You. How could you bear to let Xiaobao die just for Tang San to obtain 100,000 years? It is true that the 100,000-year sea-soul beast, demon soul great white shark Xiaobao, was the mount of Poseidon before he became Seer God. It is also true that he made a lot of efforts for Seer God back then. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 341 Tang San, Poseidon, ungrateful, hypocritical, hypocrite. After Poseidon became the god of the sea, he went to the inheritance place of the god of the sea on the god of the sea island. Xiaobao and the demon soul great white shark clan have been guarding her and have made great contributions to the god of the sea island. It is true. But now, the god of the sea actually wants Tang San to hunt Xiaobao. Poseidon could not believe that the god of the sea, whom he had always believed in and admired, would actually do this. But for the god of the sea, Xiaobao was just a former mount, a beast. The god of the sea did have some feelings for Xiaobao, but he did not care much about him. The current situation is urgent. If Chu Ye led the power of the spirit hall to kill the god of the sea island, his successor Tang San would be killed, the god of the sea island would be controlled and incorporated, and the inheritance place he left on the island would be destroyed. For the god of the sea, what he cares most about is killing Chu Ye and letting Tang San smoothly inherit his throne. In this case, what's wrong with using Xiaobao as a tool and sacrificing him? He must let Tang San absorb the 9th level to the 100,000-year level. Only in this way, Tang San will have a greater chance of bearing the throne of God in the last test of Seer God. This move will indeed make people feel chilled, so Seer God must also give a plausible reason. Shut up. Do you know that the Wuhun Empire of the mainland has set its sights on our Seer God Island, and Chu Ye has a strength far superior to yours? Once they attack Seer God Island in a big way, can you protect the safety of Seer God Island? Can you withstand the attack of the Wuhun Empire? Do you want to see Seer God Island destroyed by the power of the Wuhun Empire, and all the islanders and the soul masters who protect the island are slaughtered and killed? Only by making Tang San become Seer God can Seer God Island be saved. Save the people on Seer God Island. Sacrifice Xiaobao. For the greater good. Both sexes, I hope you will do your duty. Do you understand? The voice of Seer God finally echoed around, threatening both sexes. Lord Poseidon. Lord Poseidon. Both sexes called out to Poseidon twice in a row, but did not get a response from Poseidon. Both sexes felt very disappointed and could not help but feel disappointed with Poseidon. Both sexes was not a fool. What Poseidon said seemed to be righteous, but it was selfish and self-interested. He cared more about his own interests. Would Poseidon really care about her death, Xiaobao's death, and the survival of the people on the island? Would the spirit hall and the young man named Chu Ye really destroy Poseidon Island and massacre the islanders and people? Both sexes had seen Chu Ye, and she could feel that the young man was not a great evil person. He would definitely not do things like massacring the islanders of Poseidon Island. At most, he would kill those who blocked him, incorporate Poseidon Island, and rule here. If Poseidon Island really cared about Poseidon Island and cared about the life and death of those who believed in Poseidon, Poseidon should give up Tang San as the heir. By handing over Tang San, the safety of everyone on the Seer God Island can be ensured to a great extent. After all, the successor can be found again. What makes Poseidon most unwilling is that she thinks Tang San is not worthy at the position of Seer God. It is really not worth it for them to die for Tang San. But Poseidon has no choice. As a high priest, she should fulfill this duty. She has also received many favors from Seer God. It can be said that she, Poseidon, can have this day because of Seer God. Demon Soul Great White Shark, Xiaobai, I'm sorry, Tang San, will remember your help to me all the time. Tang San already had a strong idea to kill Xiaobai in his heart, but after all, this behavior was a bit too much, and he couldn't show that he wanted to kill him. So Tang San could only pretend to be helpless, forced, and heavy-hearted, and said, Lord Poseidon, since this is the will of Lord Sea God, we have no choice but to obey. Tang San, will never let Xiaobai die in vain. Lord Sea God is right. Now I can only absorb Xiaobai's spirit ring to have greater confidence and complete the final Sea God test. Only when I become Sea God can I protect the lives of everyone on the island. Sacrificing Xiaobai for the safety of tens of thousands of lives on Sea God Island is a great cause. Tang San looked heavy-hearted. But Poseidon had long seen through Tang San's mind. When Sea God said that Tang San should hunt Xiaobai, she noticed the murderous intent in Tang San's eyes at that moment. Stop pretending. Tang San, you're a hypocritical hypocrite. Your character is too far from your great-grandfather Tang Chen. Poseidon finally couldn't help it and exposed the filth in Tang San's heart for the first time. She shook her head in great disappointment. Since this is the will of Lord Poseidon, if you want to kill him, go ahead and kill him. I won't stop you. You. Okay, you call me a hypocrite, right? Tang San was furious when he heard this, but he couldn't offend Poseidon now. He gritted his teeth, turned around and left without saying a word, and immediately went to find Xiaobai to take action. After a while, Tang San held the Poseidon trident in his hand, and the trident supported the demon soul great white shark Xiaobai. I'm sorry, Xiaobai, killing you was not what I want. This is the will of Lord Poseidon. Xiaobai looked at Tang San in disbelief, and it was hard to believe that the Poseidon actually wanted her death to fulfill Tang San, but all this became a fact. Xiaobai said in great sorrow and anger, Tang San, I helped you a lot during your Poseidon 9 trials, but now you want to kill me. I'm sorry, Xiaobai. Tang San's face was fierce, and he directly mobilized the trident and blasted towards Xiaobai crazily. Sea God. Tang San. You are all a bunch of ungrateful villains. Roar. The eyes of the demon soul great white shark king were red, and she no longer fled, but faced Tang San directly, in comparable seniority. Bang. Boom boom boom. With Tang San's current level 90 soul power, plus the clear sky hammer cultivated to the 7th ring, and holding a divine weapon in his hand, how could an ordinary 100,000-year-old sea soul beast beat Tang San's opponent? After several fierce battles, Xiaobai was brutally pierced through the body by Tang San, the Sea God Trident, and was killed on the spot. Puffar. Die. Tang San's face was fierce. Roar. Xiaobai's last desperate scream echoed throughout the Sea God Island. With its last breath, it said to its own people, and its voice was so sad. People, leave the Sea God Island. Our demon soul great white shark clan will no longer protect this place from now on. After that, Xiaobai completely died in the hands of the so-called own people. Tang San couldn't care less now. He mobilized his spirit power, sat cross-legged, and prepared to absorb it. Seeing Tang San kill Xiaobai, Poseidon and the 7 sacred pillar guardians clenched their fists tightly. Chapter 342 Attacking Poseidon Island. Master Bow Sexes. Xiaobai also helped Tang San a lot during the divine test, but Tang San killed Xiaobai like this. Is it worth it for such an ungrateful person? Seeing Xiaobai being killed by Tang San, the 7 sacred pillars were at a loss. For the first time, they all had a strong feeling that they were tools of the sea god. Sea Dragon Douluo looked at Bow Sexes with a sad face. Master Bow Sexes, why don't you give up the position of the great priest? We really don't want to see you sacrifice your life for such a person. Yes. Master Bow Sexes. At this moment, the 7 sacred pillars guardians were persuading Bow Sexes, because they knew that Tang San's completion of the 8th test meant that Bow Sexes had to sacrifice his life to start the final test for Tang San. The sea god asked Tang San to kill Xiaobai, which had already lost the hearts of the people, and made Bow Sexes and the 7 sacred pillars guardians shake their faith in the sea god. Bow Sexes actually thought about this problem, but finally shook his head. Seeing this, the 7 holy pillars sighed in their hearts. They all understood that they were where they are now because of the sea god, who had done them a favor. Although the sea god was unjust, they could not be unkind. At this moment, Tang San had already started to absorb. The soul power began to soar again, from level 90 to level 91, and Tang San's soul power continued to increase. It was also in the process of Tang San absorbing soul rings. Chu Ye led the Soul Master troops and was about to arrive at the Sea God Island. Above the sea, Chu Ye stood on the head of a huge, nearly 50-meter deep-sea demon whale king. After becoming a soul spirit, the deep-sea demon whale king was compressed to the size of a human, but it could still expand its body, but it could not reach the 200-meter size it once had as a soul beast. It can only grow to about 50 meters at most. Chu Ye stood on the head of the demon whale king, and snake spear, chrysanthemum Douluo, ghost Douluo, light-winged Douluo, thousand June Douluo, and demon-subduing Douluo stood behind Chu Ye, on the back of the demon whale king. The demon whale king swam towards the sea god island at the fastest speed, pulling 3 boats behind him, and on the boats stood 1,000 elite soul masters. The troops led by Chu Ye were about to sweep the sea god island. "Master, we are almost there." The demon whale king was already excited. "Yeah." Chu Ye nodded lightly. He saw the huge island in the distance of the sea. "Master, there is a group of demon soul great white sharks coming in our direction. Could it be that they discovered us in advance?" The demon whale king's expression changed. After Xiaobai was killed, the demon soul great white shark clan left the sea god island collectively. At this time, they happened to run into Chu Ye's troops. "Are you going to kill them?" Seeing the large number of demon soul great white sharks attacking, the elders and elite soul masters behind them were ready for battle. "Wait." Chu Ye raised his hand, stared at the front, and then shook his head. "No need for reason, they are not here to attack us." Guangling Duo noticed the abnormality first and said, "Your Highness, there is something wrong with this group of demon soul great white sharks." I sensed a kind of grief and anger in their eyes. It can be seen that the demon soul great white shark clan has something on the sea god island. "It doesn't matter, let them go." Although Chu Ye was puzzled, he did not intend to kill this group of demon soul great white sharks quickly. After seeing Chu Ye's team, they also consciously bypassed, changed direction, and then disappeared from Chu Ye's sight. What happened between them and the sea god island? The reaction of the demon soul great white shark clan made Chu Ye feel very strange, and he called out, "Demon whale king, speed up and rush directly to the sea god island." "Okay." The demon whale king nodded, speeded up, and swam madly. A few minutes later, Chu Ye was finally about to arrive at the sea god island. He had already seen a dead large demon soul great white shark in the Renxue area. That was the demon soul great white shark king, Xiaobai. And Tang San, who was sitting cross-legged on Xiaobai and was about to finish absorbing. The demon soul great white shark king was actually killed by Tang San, so that's it. Chu Ye saw this and frowned. He understood why that group of demon soul great white sharks left the sea where they had always lived with sad and angry eyes. And Xiaobai had a lot of wounds on his body. It was obvious that he had been in a battle and was hunted in the end, not a voluntary sacrifice. Chu Ye shook his head. In order to reach the titled Douluo realm, Tang San didn't hesitate to kill the demon soul great white shark king who had always been loyal to the sea god island. That's right. As long as the soul beast has something to do with Tang San, there will be no good results. At this moment, both Sexy and others have also discovered the rapidly approaching ship on the sea in the distance. "Master Poseidon. Look. It's the Spirit Hall people, and that kid. They are here as expected." In an instant, the 7 sacred pillar guardians all became nervous. The scene of them being beaten by Chu Ye at the time is still vivid in their minds. Sea Ghost Douluo said, "If they come here just to kill Tang San, they will not kill the people on our sea god island." "Master Poseidon, should we?" Sea Ghost Douluo meant to ignore Tang San and take this opportunity to kill him. "Let all the island guarding spirit masters come first." "Yes. Master Poseidon." Soon, a large number of island guarding spirit masters on Sea God Island were collectively rushing towards the direction of the Renxue. "Elder Guangling, are you sure you can shoot Tang San with one arrow at this distance?" Chu Ye looked at Guangling behind him. "No problem at all." Guangling Duo smiled confidently. Not to mention this distance, even if it was 5,000 meters, he was sure to hit the enemy with one arrow. "Watch me, His Royal Highness the Son of God." 8th Soul Skill, End. In Guangling Duo's hand, a huge ice arrow condensed, the energy was condensing, and the direction was being locked. Although the sea god could not go down to the world, he had been paying attention to the situation on the sea god island. Seeing Chu Ye coming so quickly, the sea god was almost anxious. "Damn it. It's too late. It's too late." The majestic voice of the sea god rang throughout the sea god island. "What are you doing? Go and protect Tang San." Hearing the voice of the sea god, the 7 guardians of the holy pillars hesitated, but a large number of island soul masters who were unaware of the situation rushed towards Tang San at the first time. Both sexes, the 7 guardians of the holy pillars, what are you doing? Go quickly. Seeing that the ice arrow was about to hit, the voice of the sea god rang again. The ice arrow flew rapidly in the air, without a single deviation, blocking Tang San. Just when the ice arrow was about to kill Tang San, Bo Sexy finally took action, blocking in front of him, and struck with the scepter, shattering the ice arrow. Bang! Boom boom boom. Chapter 343. Poseidon will be abolished, and those who resist will be killed without mercy. It was also at this time that Tang San finally finished absorbing. His spirit power climbed to the peak of level 91. It felt like he would be able to break through level 92 inches less than a week. My blue-silver Emperor martial spirit finally reached the 9th ring. I can finally start working on the 9th test of the sea god. Ha ha ha. This day, Tang San had finally come. Excited, Tang San opened his eyes and laughed loudly, but he suddenly saw Chu Ye coming from a distance and froze on the spot. Tang San was stunned on the spot, the smile on his face disappeared, the corners of his mouth couldn't help twitching twice, and then he immediately showed a panic expression. Chu Ye. He actually came here, how could this be? Give me a little more time, I can take the 9th test. Why is he here at this time? Tang San's face was panicked, he tried to calm down his emotions, and shouted to Bo Sexy. There is still a chance, I still have a chance, Master Bo Sexy. Take me to the final 9th test of the sea god. At this moment, Chu Ye had spread the wings of the dragon god, covering the sky above everyone on the sea god island. Bo Sexy ignored Tang San and looked at Chu Ye in the sky with a serious face. Tang San, this time, you are dead. Chu Ye ignored the 3rd brother, as if he was looking at an ant. The sword of gods and demons appeared in his hand, pointing forward. Those who follow me will prosper, those who go against me will perish. Listen, all the Sea Soul Masters of Sea God Island, as long as you surrender to the Wihun Empire and take the initiative to hand over Tang San, I will spare your life. Chu Ye's extremely majestic voice resounded throughout the entire Sea God Island. Bo Sexy, take Tang San to the Sea God Temple immediately and open the door of inheritance for him, quickly. The voice of the Sea God once again rushed and roared. But Bo Sexy was still indifferent this time. The Sea God was furious, with a strong killing intent in his voice. Bo Sexy, you. Do you want to disobey my divine power? Go. Lord Sea God, this time, I can't obey your order. I don't want to die for Tang San, but I am willing to die to protect the people of Sea God Island. Bo Sexy looked at Chu Ye with a firm face and determination to die. She knew very well that if she took Tang San to the Sea God Temple to offer sacrifice to Tang San now, first of all, she might not be in time, and she might be killed by Chu Ye halfway. Secondly, the guardians of the Holy Pillars and all the Soul Masters who protect the island will definitely do their best to resist the power of the Spirit Empire. The two sides will fight, and once the fight is complete, the Soul Masters who protect the island will be slaughtered in vain. Even if she successfully brought Tang San into the Sea God Temple, sacrificed her life, opened the door of inheritance, and let Tang San in, even if she finally became a god, it would take time in the process of integrating the godhood. If Chu Ye is angered, he will lead the Spirit Empire Spirit Masters to slaughter the entire Sea God Island during Tang San's fusion of the divine position, which means tens of thousands of lives. If she takes Tang San with her now, it is equivalent to pushing tens of thousands of people on Sea God Island into the abyss. Bo Sexy will not do this, but as the chief worshipper at Sea God Island and an important figure, she will do her best to guard Sea God Island and not be incorporated by the Spirit Hall. Bo Sexy. You actually disobeyed my order. I give you one last chance, take Tang San to the Sea God Temple. Do you hear me? Sea God was furious. The boundless anger echoed in Sea God Island. Sea God never expected that the believers who believed in him for hundreds of years would actually disobey at this moment. Sea God, you have lost the hearts of the people. Chu Ye looked at this scene, shook his head and smiled, and his eyes looked at Bo Sexy and the 7 Holy Pillar Guardians standing beside him. Seeing their eyes ready to die, Chu Ye knew that they would fight, but not for Tang San and Poseidon, but to defend Poseidon Island. This battle must be fought. Only when they are completely crushed and beaten to the point of having no power to gain anything, will they accept the fact of being incorporated. Attack. Those who resist will be killed without mercy. Chu Ye waved his hand, and the next second, 1,000 elite spirit masters and 6 titled Douluo all rushed to Poseidon Island. Kill. The spirit masters of the Spirit Empire once again rushed to Poseidon Island. The Spirit Hall fought once before and was defeated miserably. This time, they will be unstoppable. Tang San was so angry that his body was shaking. He had one last chance, but Poseidon was unwilling to take him. Tang San had no hope of becoming a god, and he was also desperate. He cursed at Poseidon with a ferocious face. Poseidon! You stupid woman, you made me unable to become a god. Damn it. You really deserve to die. Poseidon ignored Tang San, who was barking like a mad dog, released the 9th solar skill, and instantly rushed towards Chu Ye in the sky. The red soul ring rose up and directly released the 9th solar skill. Chu Ye did not show any mercy. 8th solar skill, God and Demon Great Cold Snarler's Sword. Bang. Boom. Puff-ah. In front of Chu Ye, who was infinitely close to the 3rd level god combat power, Poseidon, who was as strong as a demigod, was seriously injured by a sword. Lord Poseidon. The 7 guardians of the sacred pillars wanted to come to support, but were blocked by the 6 elders. Bang. Poseidon spit out a mouthful of blood, and his body fell heavily to the ground. Looking at the calm Chu Ye in the sky, he was ready to die. Puff. Chu Ye's sword instantly pierced through Poseidon's abdomen, ignoring the woman under him. Do you regret training someone like Tang San, Poseidon? What's the use of regretting? Poseidon looked sad. She asked. Will you let go of the people on Sea God Island after you get rid of Tang San? My goal is only to kill Tang San and incorporate Sea God Island. Of course, we will kill the rebels one by one. After the Wihun Empire rules here, we will establish a Wihun branch hall on Sea God Island and manage this island reasonably. After speaking, Chu Ye released his power, and the power of the sword of gods and demons that penetrated Poseidon's body began to erode Poseidon's body crazily. Ah! Poseidon screamed in pain, and the next second, her Sea God Wihun was completely abolished by Chu Ye. With the Wihun abolished, Poseidon lost her power, and from the peak of level 99, she became an ordinary person at this moment. Chu Ye did not kill Poseidon, but just abolished her. It is still useful to keep Poseidon alive, because she is the spiritual leader of the entire Sea God Island. Lord Poseidon. Sea Dragon Douluo and Sea Delusion Douluo forcibly broke through the blocking titled Douluo elders and rushed to Chu Ye. Die. Chu Ye flashed a cold light, and instantly killed Sea Dragon and Sea Delusion with one sword. Puff-ah. Sea Dragon and Sea Delusion widened their eyes, blood spurted from their necks, and then they fell to the ground one after another. Tang San, now, your death is coming. Chu Ye's cold eyes instantly fell on Tang San, the last person in the crowd. Chapter 344 Sea God. Tang San, fight him. Kill him for me. No. It's not over yet. I still have a chance, I still have a chance. Tang San looked at Chu Ye in great fear, turned around and fled, running wildly towards the direction of the Sea God Temple. Bo Sexy is already useless, no one can sacrifice for you anymore to help you open the door to inheritance, and now you still dream of becoming a god. Chu Ye disappeared on the spot, and in a few seconds, he blocked in front of Tang San. You can't escape, Tang San, are you ready to face death? Chu Ye's extremely cold voice echoed. At this moment, Tang San also completely gave up. In his heart, he actually knew that Bo Sexy was useless, and he had no hope of becoming a god, but he didn't want to accept it, and still held a glimmer of hope. He also understood that it was impossible for him to escape to the Sea God Temple in Chu Ye's hands. All hopes were shattered. Tang San's face was blood red, he was extremely angry and unwilling, he clenched his fists, bit his teeth tightly, and even bit his lips until they bled. Why? Why? There is you in this world. Why, no matter how hard I try, no matter how much revenge I get, no matter how much I want to surpass you, you always suppress me from afar, time and time again beyond my imagination, time and time again I suffer a lot of blows, failures, frustrations. Once. I haven't even beaten you once. At this point, Tang San was so frustrated that he was about to cry. If it weren't for you, how could I, Tang San, have such a life? Tang San was so frustrated in his heart. He had been smooth sailing in his 2 lives, until he met Chu Ye, and his life began to go wrong, with all kinds of failures and frustrations. Tang San was originally such a proud, and confident person, but the appearance of Chu Ye made him fail in all kinds of ways, humble and humiliated, and made him helpless and desperate. He once thought that if Chu Ye hadn't existed in this world, his life in Douluo Continent would have been smooth sailing. There was a kind of grief and indignation that if there was no you, why would there be Liang? Chu Ye. You are my lifelong enemy, Tang San. Tang San roared. Enemy? Ha ha. Chu Ye laughed and shook his head. Tang San, you think too highly of yourself. I have never regarded you as my lifelong enemy. You are just a pest that will bite people at any time in my life. When Chu Ye first came to the world of Douluo, when he was sure that he would stand in the spirit hall until his death, there was a period of time in the early stage when he did regard Tang San as a very big threat and enemy. But as Chu Ye gradually became stronger, Tang San was just one of the countless ordinary obstacles in his heart. Tang San was very heartbroken when he heard it. Don't look down on people anymore, Chu Ye. Today, let's fight to the death. Blue Silver Domain. 8 Spider Lance. Ha! This time, Tang San no longer fled. He had no way out. Now he had no choice but to fight to the death. Tang San's state is fully activated. Domain, external soul bone, all things that can increase his own strength, are all activated, and his 8 spider lance and 6 soul bones are also fused into a soul bone set at this moment. Yes, Tang San also has the external soul bone 8 spider lance, so as early as when the 6 soul bones were gathered, he had a soul bone set. However, the total age of Tang San's set is less than 500,000 years. Chu Ye's soul bone set is as high as 2 million years, so the gap is naturally very large. However, with all Tang San's states fully activated, plus his current peak soul power of level 91, it is actually enough to challenge a titled Douluo at level 97. In addition to the artifact Sea God Trident, Tang San can completely fight against a titled Douluo at level 98, and even with the sum of all Tang San's abilities such as the Explosion Ring, he can also fight a titled Douluo at level 99 for a few rounds. Tang San's current strength is indeed strong enough under various conditions. Unfortunately, Chu Ye's power is infinitely close to that of a third-level god. Yes, you're brave for once, and you dare to face my power. Chu Ye also had murderous intent, holding the sword of gods and demons in his hand, and the second soul ring behind him emerged. Martial soul possession, 5-colored Dragon King. Bang! Roar! A huge dragon snake emerged behind him. Under Chu Ye's feet, blab, 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 red, 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 dark gold, red, 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 pink gold, 13 soul rings. 2 martial souls exist at the same time, and all soul rings also exist at the same time, a total of 3 blab, 8 red, 1 dark gold, and pink gold. Such a subversive display of dual martial souls and dual soul rings directly shocked everyone, as well as Tang San in front of them. Monster, really a monster. Just the aura power of dual martial souls and dual soul rings made Tang San lose half of his courage again. His eyes couldn't help but be terrified. The configuration alone was very different. How could he fight? Although Tang San had decided to die, he still felt that he was giving away his head again. Tang San, yellow, yellow, purple, purple, blab, 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 red, red, blab, 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 red, 16 soul rings. Although there are 3 more soul rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple, 9 blab, 3 red, in contrast, it looks very poor. Both sides have dual martial spirits, 6 full soul bones, and 1 external soul bone. Soul bone sets can be fused. Chu Ye 97 level peak versus Tang San 91 level peak. Looking at Tang San, who was terrified and afraid again, Chu Ye was speechless. Why, you're scared again? Tang San. Fight him. This is the last power I can use to help you. Try your best and kill him for me. Survive, I will find a way to pass the throne of Sea God Dew. Sea God roared. The next second, Sea God's forbidden land, through the steps of Sea God's light, the power of Sea God's light there, began to fly rapidly towards Tang San and merge into Tang San's body. If the Sea God left the mortal world with the most Sea God light, it would be the Sea God light at the climbing steps. Giving the power of the steps to Tang San also means that the entire Sea God Island will lose the power of the Sea God, and the power source of the 7 holy pillars will also disappear, which means that the Sea God Island will no longer be able to conduct any level of tests. This is the Sea God's last way to protect Tang San. Chu Ye frowned slightly. With all the Sea God light at the climbing steps injected, Tang San's power at this moment has reached the level of a priest, which is even stronger than Yonzhou at the beginning. The Sea God roared. Killed him. Tang San. Thank you, Lord Sea God. Thank you, Lord Sea God. I, Tang San, will live up to your expectations. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Chu Ye, it seems that it's hard to say who will win or lose until the last moment. The sudden influx of the terrifying Sea Godlight made Tang San extremely excited. He laughed fiercely. You didn't expect that, Chu Ye? I, Tang San, have a god standing behind me. Lord Sea God. Chapter 345 The Final Showdown, Chu Ye vs Tang San. Let's see, Chu Ye, today, who will win between you and me? With the infusion of the power of the rest of the sea god's light, Tang San's confidence increased greatly, and he finally had the courage to fight Chu Ye to the end. Go to hell. Chu Ye. Ha. Hush. Bang. Tang San held the sea god's trident and stabbed wildly. An imperceptible smile flashed across Chu Ye's mouth, and he swung his sword. Bang. At this moment, the two sides finally faced off. The crazy confrontation of the two energies, for a time, reached a level of parity. So strong. This power is too strong. I already have the ability to fight Chu Ye. This feeling of being on par with Chu Ye for a time made Tang San feel so refreshed for the first time. Although the power did not reach the level of transcendence, being on par with each other already made Tang San feel extremely excited. How about it? Chu Ye. You now. Don't dare to underestimate my power. I advise you, don't underestimate me. Ha. Bang 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 bang. Tang San attacked like crazy, waving the trident wildly, attacking Chu Ye fiercely. Idiot. Chu Ye was disdainful in his heart, waving the sword of gods and demons, fighting with him fiercely, but there was no expression on his face. The two sides fought fiercely and fiercely. Seeing that Chu Ye could beat him to this extent, Tang San became more and more excited, and taunted like crazy. That's it? That's it. Chu Ye. Don't you always think you are very strong? You think you can completely crush me, Tang San? You always look high and mighty, self-righteous, and can kill me at will. What's wrong now? Ah. Show me your strength to crush me, come out. How much stronger can you be than me now? You think too much of yourself, Chu Ye. Tang San attacked while taunting wildly, trying to psychologically impact Chu Ye, make Chu Ye uncomfortable, stimulate, angry, and irritate Chu Ye, so that he loses his cool and becomes impulsive. Tang San's choice to attack the heart is indeed a crucial point for victory. Indeed, if the strength of both sides is almost the same, attacking the heart is a winning point. In battle, mentality is also very important. If you lose your cool and become impulsive, you will expose many weaknesses and thus fail. But Chu Ye had grown up to this point, so he knew the importance of mentality. When Tang San mocked Chu Ye in various ways, in fact, Chu Ye's attack on Tang San had already been launched invisibly. Hi-ya! Bang! Boom boom boom! Tang San swung his halberd fiercely. Both sides were repelled by the force at the same time. Tang San was bounced 50 meters and Chu Ye was bounced 60 meters. Finally. I finally suppressed him. Tang San felt like he was going to burst into tears. This 10-meter gap made Tang San think that his strength had already surpassed Chu Ye. At this moment, Tang San was inflated to the extreme. Little did he know that Chu Ye had retreated these 10 meters on purpose. He just wanted Tang San to swell, to the point where he was full of hope and had great confidence that he could defeat Chu Ye. Chu Ye released a stronger force and pulled Tang San down in an instant. There is a saying that the higher you stand, the worse you fall. When Chu Ye's power completely suppressed Tang San, it was the time when Tang San completely collapsed. This blow will severely injure him. Ha 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 ha. Chu Ye, you are nothing but this. If you have the guts, fight me head on, dare you. Chu Ye was too lazy to deal with the little punk, and responded directly, facing Tang San. Tang San was delighted to see this. With his current strength, he mobilized the trident skill, and the power would be extremely terrifying. See God 13 styles, the third style. Go and never come back. Die. Tang San no longer held back, and attacked with all his strength, killing him head on. Here. Chu Ye's expressionless face finally smiled, and the dark blue divine outfit, the witch's cloak, appeared behind Chu Ye at this moment, and a divine weapon, the infinite blade, appeared in his hand. Infinite slash. Chu Ye's body instantly exuded an extremely terrifying power, and the terrifying power enveloped Tang San. Do you really think your power can be equal to mine? Chu Ye's voice echoed, and the next second, the power of the infinite slash instantly slashed towards Tang San. Bang! Boom boom boom. The two sides' power confrontation lasted less than 3 seconds, and Tang San's power began to collapse and disintegrate. What? Tang San panicked. The effect of the endless crit, plus the magic skill, the endless slash, the terrifying power, completely suppressed Tang San, and finally slashed Tang San's body fiercely. Ah! Tang San screamed, his body, like a rocket, slammed into the ground. It's simply vulnerable. Chu Ye glanced. How is it possible? The attack of the endless slash made Tang San's swollen heart fall instantly. Unbelievable. Tang San. Tang San, you are still like a clown, knowing nothing about my power. Just now I gave you a little sweetness. Do you really think you can be on par with me? Stupid. Chu Ye mocked. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Hey. Knowing that the equal strength just now was all intentional by Chu Ye, in fact, Chu Ye's strength was still above his, Tang San's heart completely collapsed. Suddenly, he felt like a fool. He was hit hard and lost his composure. Seer God Trident, 10th style, Sunday of the Sea. 5-colored Dragon King's 5th soul skill, Dragon King's Fierce Light. The pink and golden soul ring appeared under his feet. The terrifying power, under pressure, once again confronted Tang San head-on. Bang. Boom. Puff. Ah. At the first stage, 3 of the 8 spider lances were broken. At the second stage, 3 more were broken, and Tang San's 8 spider lances were completely broken. Tang San screamed miserably, and he was also knocked to the ground by the second stage. The third stage. The fourth stage. The fifth stage. The sixth stage. The seventh stage. The eighth stage. Bang. 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 Ah. Tang San screamed miserably. From the third stage to the eighth stage, Chu Ye was slashing and smashing at Tang San on the ground. Finally, after the eighth stage, the soul bone suit on Tang San's body was smashed to pieces. Chapter 346. Killing Tang San. The Furious Sea God. Tang San screamed miserably. His 8 spider lances and soul bone set were all broken into pieces. His body was covered with wounds. He tried his best to distance himself from Chu Ye. But now, Tang San almost had no chance to fight Chu Ye. Tang San madly smashed the Seer God Trident in his hand at Chu Ye. The Seer God Trident was out of his hand. To outsiders, it was a weight of 180,000 kilograms. Just smashing it out like this was extremely powerful. Pain mask. Bang. Boom. However, Chu Ye only released the pain mask to block the Seer God Trident. Ding. Whoosh. The Seer God Trident flew up and then fell to the ground. At this time, the pain mask had already flown towards Tang San. Pain torture. What is this? No. Bang. Boom. Tang San was extremely terrified. He had no time to dodge. The pain mask stuck to his face. Endless pain began to torture Tang San's spirit. Ugh. Tang San grabbed the mask on his face with both hands, trying to pull it out. No matter what he did, the mask of pain was tied to his face. It was as if he had torn his face apart, but he couldn't take it off. He could only continue to endure the mental torture. Pain, despair, screaming, the torture of pain alone made him breathless. How could he have much energy to defend against Chu Ye's attack? Third soul skill, 36 consecutive slashes of gods and demons. Hush. Puff puff. 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 Aga. Chu Ye's figure, like a black lightning, surrounded Tang San, in all directions, every position, every angle, madly slashed Tang San's body. Tang San endured the double torture and blow of the body and mind, and was slashed 36 times in a row. In the end, Chu Ye held his head down with a palm and smashed it to the ground. Bang. Bang. Then a slap hit Tang San's face, and he was violently knocked away. Terrible. 36 slashes were followed by a slap and he was knocked away. Tang San was left with deep sword marks all over his body. A lot of blood had already infected his whole body. Tang San knelt on the ground with his knees straight, kneeling in front of Chu Ye, so desperate and powerless, beaten. Completely beaten. It turns out that I am still so weak in front of him. I am not his opponent at all. Why can he be so strong? I am not willing. I am not willing. The secret of the great Humor hammer, explode the ring. Bang 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 bang. At this moment, Tang San exploded all his spirit rings, and the power of his 16 spirit rings exploded at the same time, resulting in this blow. Chu Ye. This move, I will definitely kill you. This was Tang San's last resistance, and also his last hope to kill Chu Ye. After this move, it was over. Tang San, this is the end. Chu Ye's eyes were still fearless, without a trace of retreat, and the dark gold and spirit ring under his feet emerged. 9th spirit skill, God and Demon Destruction. The only fate of those who were my enemies is death, even the sea god behind you. Today, I will kill you first. Later, I will kill the sea god. Chu Ye's power at this moment has made the sea god, who was anxiously watching the battle, a little bit. How can this kid be so strong? He is obviously just a 97 level titled Douluo, but he can do this. What kind of monster is he? This kind of power is even stronger than a 3rd level god. Bang. Boom 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 boom. Ah. Chu Ye's strongest attack collided with Tang San's ring explosion power. Puff. The terrifying power directly broke through the ring explosion power and cut off Tang San's arms again. Tang San was completely injured, and even his internal organs and bones were seriously injured. Tang San knelt straight on the ground, blood gushing from the broken arms on both sides, and finally fell to the ground helplessly, looking sideways, watching Chu Ye step by step, walking towards him, with endless fear in his eyes. It was no longer the fear of death, but only the fear of Chu Ye. At this moment, everything seemed to be quiet, with only Chu Ye's extremely subtle footsteps. He had a blank expression on his face, holding the sword of gods and demons in his hand, and blood was dripping from the tip of the sword. Chu Ye approached step by step, which also made Tang San feel that he was one step closer to death, and it was a desperate suffocation. Stop. Stop right now. If you dare to kill him, I will make you pay the price. The shadow of the sea god's mind appeared again in the huge sky, roaring in great exasperation. Hectares. Bang. Chu Ye stepped hard on Tang San's face, stomping his face to the ground, sneering, slowly raised his head, pointed his sword at the sea god in the sky. What else can you do now except barking like a dog and threatening me? Kill him. What can you do to me? You dare. You dare. The sea god roared in great anger. Old man, why dare not? Who do you think you are? A god who has intervened in the affairs of the mortal world many times, and you are such a thing. One day, I will kill the god realm and cut off your dog head with my own hands. Chu Ye did not give the sea god face, and exposed his murderous intention to the sea god without any cover. He and the sea god had already formed an indelible grudge, and he would not change anything because of his current attitude, good or bad, and the sea god would not let him go easily. Therefore, even if Chu Ye faced the threat and anger of a 1st level god, he would not give him face at all, and being strong was his only choice. Now, I will send your heir on his way. Chu Ye slowly raised the sword of gods and demons, and with his other hand, he grabbed Tang San's hair and lifted Tang San up. Lord Poseidon, save me, save me. Tang San cried desperately. No one can save you, it's over, Tang San. No. Tang San was desperate, terrified, and crying. Chu Ye let go of Tang San's hair, and then cut off Tang San's head with a sword. Tang San just looked at the sword of gods and demons, swinging towards his neck. Puff. Clean and neat. Chu Ye mercilessly cut off Tang San's head with a sword. At this moment, Tang San was completely dead, his head and body were separated into two, and fell to the ground. He stared with his eyes wide open, and died with his eyes open. Tang San died, but for Chu Ye, there was no ripple in his heart. Killing Tang San was just the beginning. Next, he would definitely kill the bastard Poseidon in the god realm. Damn it. Damn it. Chu Ye. I will definitely kill you. I will make you, this ignorant brat, pay a heavy price. Chapter 347. Sea God Island becomes a member of the Wihun Empire. I'll let you know the consequences of angering my sea god. The boundless rage of the sea god echoed throughout the Sea God Island and everyone's ears at this moment. The Sea God Island's island protecting spirit masters in the battle, as well as the elite spirit masters of the martial spirits, and the titled Douluo welders, all looked up at the boundless and angry sea god's divine thoughts in the sky. They felt extremely daunted and fearful in their hearts. After all, that was a god, an angry god. Only Chu Ye's face did not have a trace of fear. He was still very strong and responded forcefully. Then let's see, is it you who kills me, or I who killed you? Poseidon, I, Chu Ye, will definitely take your dog head. Okay, you're good. The last sound of the sea god's divine thoughts sounded, and finally disappeared at this moment. Here. Chu Ye also retracted his eyes, and then stepped on Tang San's head and blew it up, removing the skull on his head, as well as the 6 soul bones on his arms, legs, and torso. 5 10,000-year soul bones and 100,000-year soul bone were all collected in the revelation. Now Tang San has made up his mind, Chu Ye's biggest goal has been achieved, and now it is to incorporate Poseidon Island. At this moment, Poseidon Island's Poseidon was abolished, and the 2 sacred pillar guardians, Heilong and Taiwang, were killed by Chu Ye. One of them, Heilong, was also shot and killed by Guangling in the battle, and one had already died. Now there are only 3 left of the 7 sacred pillar guardians, and they are all seriously injured at this moment. If they continue to fight, they will definitely die. The Soul Masters who protect the island are also completely suppressed by the Soul Master elites brought by Chu Ye. Now that Chu Ye has killed Tang San, if they join the battle, they will only be slaughtered, and the power Chu Ye showed just now has made the Soul Masters who protect the island extremely terrified. In this battle, they, Poseidon Island, will definitely lose. At this moment, Chu Ye's terrifying figure has been shrouded in the vast sky, and an extremely majestic voice echoed. Now, I will give you one last chance to lay down your weapons and surrender to my Wuhan Empire. If you don't, today, all of you on Sea God Island will die here. Bosex sighed heavily in his heart, and at this time, he spoke out. Surrender, we are completely defeated. Look at the more than 7,000 ordinary islanders behind us. For them, lay down your weapons and surrender to the Wuhan Empire. The Wuhan Empire will not abuse us. After being incorporated, Sea God Island will be part of the territory of the Wuhan Empire. Lord Bosex, as Bosex said this, all the soul guides finally stopped fighting, and the surviving guardians of the 7 sacred pillars also hesitated for a moment and stopped resisting. The situation has been determined, and they really have no choice, either to die or to surrender. Many of them are not afraid of death, but standing behind them, there are still thousands of ordinary islanders and their families. What they are most worried about is that even if the Sea God Island surrenders to the Spirit Empire and is incorporated, what will happen to the Sea God Island in the future? Will it fall into dire straits and be abused? These are the problems they are worried about. They have been on the island for almost their entire lives, and they are full of unknowns about the mainland. They don't know what will happen after being ruled by the Spirit Empire. But they believe in Bosex. Since Bosex has said so, some of their concerns will disappear. And this is actually the effect of Chu Ye leaving Bosex alive. Surrender. We surrender. All the Soul Masters who protect the island finally put down their weapons, took back their strength and spirits, accepted the fate of the Sea God Island, and the fact that they have become part of the Spirit Empire. Now, the Spirit Empire has unified the mainland, and even the largest overseas force, the Sea God Island, has been incorporated. The Spirit Empire has completely enveloped this continent. The enemies of the mortal world have also been completely eradicated. For Chu Ye, there are no enemies to worry about under the mortal world. Next, he will devote all his efforts to cultivation and complete the Dragon God 9 tests. From now on, he will be fighting against the gods. The divine dragon throne he carries is inextricably linked to their soul beast clan, and the road ahead may be even more difficult. But at least before Chu Ye rushes to the divine realm, he can live a peaceful life. As for the Wuhan Empire and this continent, it will also usher in a peaceful and prosperous era, no more wars, and enter an era when the Wuhan Empire will absolutely unify the continent. With rapid development, this continent will become more and more prosperous, and the lives of the people on the continent will become better and better. Chu Ye believes that under the leadership of him and Qian Renxue, they will be able to rectify the future Douluo Continent, even when the Sunday and Moon Continent collide with the Douluo Continent 4,000 years later. He also believes that under the leadership of the Wuhan Empire in the future, the Sunday and Moon Empire will surely be defeated. From today on, Poseidon Island will be officially under the jurisdiction of the Spirit Empire. It will be the largest island in the Spirit Empire, and you are not only the residents of Poseidon Island, but also the citizens of the Spirit Empire. Soon, the Spirit Empire will give you the inscriptions that symbolize the citizens of the Spirit Empire. Poseidon Island will be treated the same as any other city on the mainland of the Spirit Empire. As long as you abide by the laws and regulations of the Empire, you will not be persecuted by the Empire. Chu Ye's voice echoed throughout the Poseidon Island. All the Soul Masters who protected the island, as well as more than 7,000 ordinary islanders, listened silently and accepted the new province of the citizens of the Spirit Empire. After incorporating Poseidon Island, Chu Ye was not in a hurry to go back. For the next period of time, he would stay here to practice and rectify Poseidon Island. He first had people completely destroy the Poseidon Temple, which symbolized the belief in Poseidon, and then re-established a system for Poseidon Island, and managed it according to the same laws and regulations as the Spirit Empire. Then he sent people back to call a group of engineering teams over. In the 7 cities of Sea God Island, 7 branch halls of Wuhan will be built respectively. In one of the cities, a branch hall of the highest level, the Holy Spirit Hall, will be built. Then the high-level officials of the Wuhan Empire will come to manage this place. As for the middle and grassroots level, some spirit masters from Sea God Island can be selected. After all, if they are all our own people, it will not work. Only with the joint management of the people of Sea God Island can the entire island integrate faster and adapt to the new situation. Because of the Sea God Forbidden Land, the Sea God's light power of the climbing steps was all injected into Tang San's body, making the current Sea God Island lose the Sea God's power. The 7 sacred pillars have also become ordinary silver mother iron, without any power, which means that there is no longer any test of the Sea God here, and it is no longer the place of inheritance of the Sea God. At least for now, Sea God Island is no longer a place of inheritance of a god. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 348. Qian Renxue is resurrected after sacrifice, opening the door to inheritance. There is no longer a great worshipper of the sea god on this island. After Bosexu was abolished, he retired and disappeared. Because the 7 holy pillars lost their power, the 3 surviving guardians of the holy pillars, Seahorse Luo, Starfish Luo and Seagull Luo, are no longer the guardians of the holy pillars. Starfish Luo disappeared with Bosexu, probably to protect Bosexu, who has become an ordinary person, for the rest of his life. Seagull Luo also left Sea God Island alone and returned to her own tribe. She is a mermaid in the sea, belonging to a race of half-human and half-sea-soul beasts. Only Seahorse Luo joined the Spirit Empire to build a branch of the Spirit Hall here to serve, but Seahorse Luo's original intention was not for the Spirit Empire. It was for the islanders of Sea God Island. After all, he was at least a titled Luo, and managing Sea God Island with the Spirit Empire was at least a good thing for the islanders of Sea God Island. When encountering injustice, he can at least stand up and do his best to protect the islanders and provide some welfare for the islanders. Because Poseidon Island is now part of the Wuhan Empire, it is an island of the Empire. It is no longer an island of a single force. Since it is all the territory of the Empire, the people of the Empire can naturally enter and exit at will. Therefore, Chu Ye plans to build a safe sea route connecting to the mainland as a civilian sea route and a commercial sea route, and establish a connection with Poseidon Island, so that trade and people can come and go. Open up Poseidon Island and let the islanders, who were almost closed on the island, connect with the mainland to quickly integrate into one. In the future, people from the mainland can come to Poseidon Island for tourism, and islanders can also go to the mainland for fun. Therefore, since such a sea route is to be opened, the Wuhan Empire will also send people to suppress and clean up those pirates and pirate groups that are making trouble on the sea. Unknowingly, a month later, everything on Poseidon Island is on the right track. The 7 cities on Poseidon Island have begun to build branch halls of Wuhan, and the people of the Wuhan Empire have completely controlled the island. All the matters that should be arranged have been arranged, and Chu Ye should return to the mainland. He got the news. Qian Renxue has completed the 8th test of the angel. Just as he guessed, Qian Renxue opened the door of inheritance for Qian Renxue without knowing that Qian Renxue was going to sacrifice his life. The magical effect of the resurrection armor that Chu Ye gave to Qian Renxue worked. After Qian Renxue sacrificed, Qian Renxue entered the door of inheritance in less than 3 seconds. The power of the resurrection armor resurrected Qian Renxue. I actually, really resurrected. What Chu Ye said was true. This armor really made me die and come back to life. Qian Renxue, who died once and resurrected, felt so deeply for the first time how wonderful it was to be alive. Qian Renxue was very excited because he could finally see with his own eyes how his granddaughter Qian Renxue became the god of angels. He could also see with his own eyes that Qian Renxue and Chu Ye got married, held a wedding, and even held a great-grandson. When Chu Ye learned that Qian Renxue had entered the inheritance gate and accepted the last angel inheritance, he planned to rush back immediately. Seeing this, the angel god descended. Elder Ji, the remaining matters on the Sea God Island will be handed over to you to deal with. We will return to the mainland first. Chu Ye instructed. Don't worry, Your Highness the Holy Sun. Douluo and Ghost Luo bowed with great congratulations. Let's go. Return to the mainland. Let's go. Demon Whale King. Yes. Chu Ye released the Deep Sea Demon Whale King and let the Snake Spear, as well as Jingmo, Qianjin, Guangling, and Sima lead spirit masters to return to the mainland. On the way, Chu Ye took out the 6 soul bombs that exploded after killing Tang San, and prepared to absorb them all into the Phoenix torso. Among these 6 soul bones, one is below 50,000 years, the others are more than 50,000 years, and there is one 100,000 years. Chu Ye's phoenix soul bone age has already reached nearly 400,000 years. After this wave of absorption, it has reached 800,000 years. The effect and increase of the phoenix trunk bone is equivalent to a direct doubling. Chu Ye's strength has become stronger, but if he wants his strength to rise to the level of a third-level god, this level is not enough. Chu Ye is still far from the true third-level god's compact power. It is difficult to reach this level of power without a god's position, even if it is only the lowest third-level god. But Chu Ye knows that if he adds the power of the dragon god, his current strength should be enough to compete with the third-level god. When he fought with Tang San before, he did not use it because he did not want the sea god to find out that he still had this strongest trump card. It's been 800,000 years, and there are only 200,000 years left. My phoenix trunk bone can reach the million-year god level. Let's leave it at that for now. Chu Ye smiled in his heart. He still has several 100,000-year level soul bones on him, but those are meant to be kept for future children. He is not in a hurry to increase to 1,000,000 years now, and there are no enemies in the mortal world. Try to collect some, and absorb them for thousands and tens of thousands of years. Under the speed of the Demon Whale King, it didn't take long to reach the coastal area of Hanhei City. Everyone, take your time, I'll go back first. As most people walk too slowly, Chu Ye spread the wings of the dragon god and flew back to Wuhan City and the Pope's palace. Immediately after some matters. And entered the worship hall as soon as possible. Came to the door of Qian Renxue's inheritance place. At this moment, Qian Dalu, the second worshipper Golden Crocodile Duo, and the third worshipper, 4 worshippers, were all here waiting for Qian Renxue to become a god. Seeing Chu Ye come in, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th priests all knelt on one knee in front of Chu Ye and said with great gratitude, "Thank you, Your Highness, the Holy Sun, for protecting the life of the great priest. Elders, don't be so polite, get up quickly, this is what I should do." Chu Ye hurriedly helped him up, thinking, "I saved my future grandfather, do I still need you to thank me?" At this time, Qian Dalu walked in front of Chu Ye and patted Chu Ye's shoulder heavily. He didn't say anything, but his eyes and actions were full of his expression and emotions. Qian Dalu said, "Chu Ye, the resurrection armor saved my life, but it's a pity that this divine armor was also lost because of me. Alas, what a pity." At this moment, Qian Dalu had taken out the resurrection armor, but the resurrection armor was broken, and the amplification effect it brought was completely invalid. In Qian Dalu's view, the resurrection armor seemed to be useless. Chu Ye shook his head and smiled. "Great priest, the resurrection armor's magical skill, the resurrection effect has been used, it will indeed break and become ineffective, but after 10 years, it will repair itself, don't worry." Chapter 349 Qian Renxue becomes the god of angels. The cooling time of the resurrection armor is 10 years. It's very long, but if it's in the god realm, it can be repaired in 10 days. Qian Dalu was very happy to hear this. Great, if this kind of divine armor is damaged in my hands, it's really not worth it. Great worshipper, now let's wait for Chu Ye to become the god of angels and return. Chu Ye smiled and stopped discussing this topic. Yeah. Everyone stopped communicating and stood in a row, looking in the same direction. They waited for a whole day and night. Time came to the early morning of the next day, 12 o'clock. At this moment, the lights of the thousands of homes in Wuhan City have been extinguished, and the night sky has covered the streets of the city. The citizens have returned home, turned off the lights and went to bed. There are only a few night market blocks that are still lively, and the whole Wuhan City is very quiet. But at this time, suddenly, boom! An extremely strong golden light rushed into the sky here in the worship hall, directly broke through the clouds, and the golden light began to cover the sky above the entire Wuhan City. The night was lit up, and the whole city was startled. The golden light illuminated the buildings, houses, and streets of the entire Wuhan City, and also alarmed all the soul masters and citizens living in Wuhan City. Hey! Look! At this moment, everyone woke up and walked onto the street. They saw the shadow of the angel god Qian Renxue in the sky. Angel god! At this moment, all the civilians and soul masters in Wuhan City knelt down, respected, and worshipped at the shadow of the angel god. Everyone knew that Qian Renxue had become a god. All the titled Douluo elders, as well as Ulina, Shiyu, Yan, and others, also knelt on one knee, with endless longing on their faces. The young master has become a god, and we can't compare to him. Welcome to the angel god. In the worship hall, Qian Renxue had already stepped into the gate of inheritance, and Qian Dalu and the worship elders also knelt on one knee with great excitement. Only Chu Ye stood straight. Are you kidding? Even if she is a god, she is still his wife. If he kneels down, will he still have the throne of the family in the future? Grandpa, even if I have become the god of angels, you are still my elder, my grandfather. How can you kneel down to me? Get up quickly, everyone stand up too. Qian Renxue immediately helped Qian Dalu up, and then her eyes fell on Chu Ye, and a beautiful and moving smile slowly appeared on her face. Chu Ye also looked at her with a smile. Now Qian Renxue, the god of angels. Her aura became more sacred and noble, and the strong angelic breath exuded was even more difficult to look directly at. That breath, even if Qian Renxue tried her best to suppress it, also made Chu Ye feel full of oppression. There is no doubt that the power is far superior to Chu Ye. This is the real oppression brought by God standing in front of me. Chu Ye was secretly surprised. Until now, he really understood how big the gap between mortals and gods was. Moreover, Qian Renxue has just become a god, and has not yet fully mastered the power of the first-level god-angel position, and has not yet reached the combat power of the first-level god, but her aura is already so strong. After Qian Renxue fully masters the power of the angel god, how strong will that aura be? As Qian Renxue took back the six-winged angel martial spirit, all the oppression instantly dissipated. She ran to Chu Ye and threw herself into his arms. Chu Ye. Swear. The two hugged each other tightly. Looking at the sweet appearance of the young couple, the chief priest and others smiled knowingly, and left consciously, giving them the world. Swear, congratulations, now you have become the angel god. Well, my wife is a god, it's really more face-saving to say it out. Chu Ye said with a smile. Qian Renxue shook her head and smiled. With your current strength, even if you haven't become a god yet, you're unparalleled and invincible on this continent. Do you still need this face? Of course, my wife is a god, isn't this worth being proud of? Ask the whole world, who can have such a blessing as me? Hate, stop talking nonsense. Qian Renxue smiled and hit Chu Ye's chest, and then asked expectantly. Seriously, do you still know what you said to me before? What? Chu Ye pretended not to know. How have you forgotten what you said yourself? Wait until I become a god, you marry me. Qian Renxue pouted, looking a little angry. Oh, this matter. Well, after a while again. Qian Renxue heard a little disappointed. Perhaps Chu Ye still had things he wanted to do, and didn't want to be so anxious, and indeed, now that the Empire has just unified the continent, there are still many things that need them to come forward. Okay, let's go. To congratulate you on becoming the god of angels, I will cook for you today. Seeing Qian Renxue like this, Chu Ye smiled in his heart. How could he not remember what he said and his promise? He didn't want to delay any longer, and would definitely give Qian Renxue a grand wedding and marry her as his wife. Chu Ye had already prepared everything, but he didn't tell her in advance, just to give Qian Renxue a surprise. Okay, I haven't eaten the food you cooked for a long time. Qian Renxue was very happy to hear this, and because they had been busy with the god examination and the war in the past few years, they hadn't eaten the food Chu Ye cooked for a long time, and felt a little wronged. Then let's go. Yeah. Chu Ye stretched out his hand to Qian Renxue. Qian Renxue smiled sweetly, and the two of them held hands, and ran all the way out of the worship hall and left the Pope's hall. Chu Ye, where are we going? Didn't you say you would cook for us? Qian Renxue asked in confusion. We won't cook at home anymore. Let's go to the top of Qingshu Mountain. Ah? Go to Qingshu Mountain to cook? Well, it's quite novel. Come on, I'll carry you up. Yes. Chu Ye picked up Princess Qian Renxue, and Qian Renxue hugged Chu Ye's neck happily, snuggled in his arms, and then spread the wings of the dragon god, flying with Qian Renxue in the air, all the way to Qingshu Mountain. Qingshu Mountain is a very popular mountain scenic spot in Wuhan City, and it is also a check-in place for couples. There are many beautiful wonders and strange sights on the mountain, and the scenery is very good. On the top of the mountain, you can see the appearance of the entire Wuhan City. Even in the middle of the night, there will be many people talking about love on the mountain, but tonight, it is very strange that there is no one. Qian Renxue has already felt something is wrong. Soon, the two arrived at the top of the mountain. The top of the mountain is the ultimate check-in destination for couples who come to Qingshu Mountain. It is filled with roses that symbolize love, as well as various beautiful flowers and plants. Chapter 350 Proposal. The scenery and environment here can almost be said to be the best scenery in the whole continent. At the best position of the viewing point, Qian Renxue found a wooden house that had not been there before. You made it? Qian Renxue asked. What else? Qian Renxue smiled in her heart. She already knew. Chu Ye probably booked the place today. But she thought Chu Ye booked the place just to cook for her personally and didn't want anyone to disturb their world of two. What Qian Renxue didn't know was that this place had become Chu Ye's proposal scene. When the two walked in the beautiful scenery on the top of the mountain, the Demon Whale King, Ice Emperor, Snow Emperor, Shao, Erming, the 5 souls had already prepared everything. Here they come. They come. They come. Quick. Do it. Watch me. Snow Emperor smiled and instantly mobilized her ice and snow attributes. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, who were holding hands, interlocking their fingers, walking in the beautiful flowers, suddenly saw the sky full of flying snow. A large number of beautiful snowflakes condensed into pieces of heart shapes and fell from the sky. It was autumn now, and it was not the winter solstice yet, so how could it snow? Seeing countless flying snow and heart-shaped snowflakes falling, Qian Renxue already understood that all this was Chu Ye's doing. She slowly spread her hands, palms facing upwards, and a heart-shaped snowflake fell into Qian Renxue's palms. Qian Renxue looked at the gradually melting heart-shaped snowflakes in her hands and smiled warmly. Chu Ye, what are you doing? Chu Ye also smiled slightly, without answering. The snowflakes continued to fall. Soon, a large amount of water rose from the entire mountain, all around Chu Ye and Qian Renxue. This was the Demon Whale King, releasing it through its own water attribute. A large amount of rising water, through the power of the Ice Emperor's extreme ice, quickly froze into one after another, beautiful patterns and ice statues. Qian Renxue looked at the various shapes and patterns around her, beautiful and loving ice statues, and her smart eyes flickered slightly. Soon, in front of the two people, there appeared the ice statues of Chu Ye and Qian Renxue in their childhood, as well as the scenes of the past. The Ice Emperor released a large amount of water through the Demon Whale King, which condensed into ice statues and scenes. The first scene that appeared in front of them was Chu Ye's appearance when he was 6 years old, and Qian Renxue's appearance when she was 9 years old. It was the night in the training ground at the Pope's Palace, when Chu Ye kissed Qian Renxue's ice statue for the first time. Seeing this scene, Qian Renxue was moved, and she and Chu Ye's interlocked hands subconsciously clenched. Swear, do you remember? Of course I remember. That was the first time you broke into my world, and that was the first time you occupied an extremely important position in my heart. The two smiled at each other. Soon, next to the ice statue at this scene, the second scene appeared again. At the time, in the main hall of the Elders' Hall, Chu Ye held Qian Renxue's hand, kicked open the door with her, broke into the main hall, and made 3 beds with Qian Dalu. The ice statue condensed again. At the time, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue completed Qian Dalu's second request and worked together to kill Soul Emperor Li Yuanba. They happily hugged each other. Immediately afterwards, more and more appeared one after another. The ice statues of Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, as well as the scenes, were all the things they had experienced and walked through together. They were vivid, milestones, and full of memories. It was like a movie that belonged to the two of them who had experienced, grown up together, and walked through those days together, and grew up to the present. From childhood, to adolescence, and then to today's growth, every scene filled Qian Renxue with memories, and those times that had passed, and the happy past. From acquaintance, knowing each other, falling in love, and loving each other, all the memories of the past were now madly integrated into Qian Renxue's mind. At this moment, she was completely moved. Chu Ye, recalling the past, I suddenly found that time flies so fast. You have been with me for so long. It's great to have you in my life. When Qian Renxue was still sleeping in those ice statues and scenes with strong memories, Chu Ye had already knelt on one knee beside Qian Renxue, calling her name gently. Swear. Qian Renxue came back to her senses and looked at Chu Ye beside her. Suddenly, she saw Chu Ye kneeling on one knee with a gift box in his hand. Qian Renxue finally understood everything. She covered her mouth with surprise, and tears unconsciously rolled in the corners of her eyes. Chu Ye, Chu Ye slowly spread out the gift box, and a sparkling silver mother crystal diamond ring appeared in front of Qian Renxue. In the days to come, I will always be by your side. Swear, are you willing to marry me? Chu Ye looked at Qian Renxue very seriously. Qian Renxue, whose eyes were already filled with tears, shed a tear of emotion. It was difficult to express her inner emotions in words. She only knew that at this moment, she was very happy. I do come, I'll put it on for you. Chu Ye smiled slightly, took out a diamond ring worth 9,999,999 gold soul coins, and then slowly put it on Qian Renxue's hand. Although this diamond ring is only worth a city, the most important thing is the thought and process. Qian Renxue was so happy that she almost cried. Didn't you say that we would talk about marriage later? It's so sudden, really isn't this to give you a surprise? Chu Ye smiled. The two hugged each other tightly, and the atmosphere reached its peak. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue looked at each other, and then slowly kissed each other. The next thing is not suitable for children. Everyone, let's avoid it. The Demon Whale King said. Well. The 5 souls left consciously. Now Chu Ye's mental power is terrifying enough, and they can leave a long distance. But Chu Ye and Qian Renxue just kissed and didn't do anything else. They didn't like to do that kind of thing in the wild. The two walked in the ice statues and scenes made by Bingdi, chatting, talking, and reminiscing about the past. They talked and laughed happily. Soon, Qian Renxue stood in front of her 9-year-old ice statue, and Chu Ye stood in front of his 6-year-old ice statue. Qian Renxue covered her mouth and smiled. I have to say, Bingdi, you made our previous appearances quite similar. It can be said that 90% of it has been restored. Indeed. Chu Ye nodded. Haha, look, Chu Ye, why didn't I notice you before? When you were 6 years old, you were quite cute. Your face, chubby. How can you not be chubby now? Okay, stop looking, let's go, I'll cook something delicious for you. Okay. Chu Ye took Qian Renxue's hand and walked towards the wooden house prepared in advance on the top of the mountain. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.